What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above par. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health is here, we got it. Reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far, you know. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network.
You are now listening to CTR Media Network.
What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above par. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health, and see if we
the podcast on CTR Media Network.
That's me. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks to her, my podcast is doing great.
350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far, you know. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Yes, it is International Podcast Day. Did you know that we have a day ever since 2005 where we are celebrating podcasters from all over the world? I am Dr. Tina J. Ramsay, the host for this International Podcast Day here streaming on CTR Media Network. I am also the host of the two-time award nominated show called, the Tina Ramsay Show. And today we're going to be showing you some of the best from CTR Media Network. We're also going to be streaming live. Yes, we're going to be streaming live the People's Choice Podcast Awards that is going to be happening at 6 p.m. EST on today. So this is the time for you to like, follow, share, and subscribe, because this is what we are doing today. So if you ever had the desire to start, build, or grow your podcast, and this is definitely a place for you, because not only do we share podcasters and their amazing guests, reaching 350 million households worldwide, but we also share businesses and books and products and services as well. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for a way to maximize your visibility and your reach, then come on over to CTR Media Network. We also have different opportunities where we have co-host opportunities for you to co-host some of our amazing shows that's already here on CTR Media Network. So if you would like to try and dabble in being a co-host for one of these shows that we have, top rated shows, then reach out to ctrmedianetwork.com and click the contact us button so that we can get you started today. We also is letting you know that we are actively booking and actively seeking guests for our top rated podcast shows. So if you have something that you want to say, honey, come on over to CTR Media Network on today. Advertise with us. Now we are going to just have a good time, because this is International Podcast Day. We've been celebrating this ever since the year of 2005. And this is something that's really, really amazing. I want to take this time right now. Yes, if you're watching and listening in right now, type in where you are tuning in from so that we can give you a little shout out. Let us know what you do too, because this is a free plug for you. Yes, so this is the People Choice Podcast Awards that's going to be taking place today at 6 p.m. EST, where you're going to find out about the different podcasters and different platforms and different shows that has been nominated for different categories, similar to the Emmys, the Oscars. Well, this is the Oscars for podcasters. Yes, this is our award show, people. Did you know we had our own award show? And we also have other amazing award shows too, but this is one of the first, if not the first. And this is the 18th annual People Choice Podcast Awards. And we, yes, CTR Media Network has the opportunity that we are live streaming this award show for you to be able to see and take part in. Who knows? This might be some shows that you want to be a featured guest on, or maybe do something else with. We're also going to be showing you live leading up to the People's Choice Podcast Awards. We are going to be showing you some of the best of CTR Media Network and our podcasters. But before we roll in to show you some of our podcasts for CTR Media Network, I want to let you know this. Yes! Who is that? Who that? That's Dr. Tina J. Ramsay. Yes, I want to let you know that I am nominated for the Best Black Podcast Host at the People Choice Awards this year. Yes, I have been nominated thanks to God and all of you. And I am so thrilled and so honored to even be nominated out of like 3 million podcasters worldwide. To be nominated, that is a great honor in itself. So we already won, but hold up, we want to win, but even if something happens and that does not happen, we have already won because of all of you, and most of all God. For those of you who do not know what quite is going on, this is us honoring podcasters from all over the world, from the beginners to the intermediate to the experts, baby. This is our day to celebrate. Happy International Podcast Day. And for all of you who have been on the fence trying to figure out whether or not you want to start a podcast or not, I'm here to let you know it's time for you to jump on in. Yeah, jump on in so that you can become a podcaster today. If you need help, we have you covered. We have the #1 best-selling book called The Power of Podcasting, Unlocking Tips and Strategies for Podcast Success, which is the #1 bestseller on Amazon. So you just simply go to Amazon right now, click, or you can go to ctrmedianetwork.com and go purchase your book. It also has a 30 video course in it to walk you through step by step at your own pace so that we can be shouting you out next year this time, baby. Okay, because your voice needs to be heard. We also want to give you a shout out because tomorrow I'm going to have the honor to be able to co-host. Yes, I'm going to be hopping on over from the Tina Ramsay Show, co-hosting the She Trucking Podcast. So make sure to tune in
tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a small commercial break. Yes, we're going to take a commercial break from our sponsors. And after that, we are going to roll in some of our podcasters from CTR Media Network so that you can enjoy some of what we have to offer with CTR Media Network. For those of you who would like to watch more of our shows, we stream online 24/7. Yes, 24/7 on CTR Media Network. And you can also see some of our podcasts and shows on Roku TV. Yes, Roku TV. You just simply download the app, no subscription needed. Download the app, and you can watch our shows for absolutely free. So get the inspiration, the motivation, and the empowerment, and the resources that you need in order to walk into your perfect, purposeful life. So what we're going to do, we're going to go and take a break. Yes, we're going to take a break from what? Aluva. We'll be back in a moment.
Aluva G-Burn is an all-in-one weight loss supplement. If you're looking at a weight loss supplement as a whole, in my opinion, you have to target 5 or 6 different areas. And Aluva G-Burn does that. And it's the highest quality ingredients with the best absorption technologies with the highest bioavailability in each and every ingredient.
Hi, my name is Jen. I'm 47 years old. I teach musical theater classes to children, and I have been using Aluva G-Burn for a couple months now. I have 4 kids, and it seems like with each pregnancy, I gained a little more weight, a little more weight, a little more weight, and it's so frustrating to try to get that weight off. You know, I'm just hungry all the time. I crave stuff that I shouldn't be eating. I've tried everything, and nothing has worked. But as soon as I started Aluva G-Burn, I was finally able to lose the weight. It suppressed my appetite. I wasn't having to snack all day. The cravings were gone. I felt great. I now have the energy to do the things I want to do throughout the day.
Sweet conversation. Hey, outrageous. Hey, you smile. Yeah, I smile. And I say, come on, say, it's getting personal, personal, personal. We say what? It's still for a while. And babe, come on, such a beautiful woman. Come on. Oh, say, giving you the best of me. Come on, hey, come on, amazing, hey, outrageous. What's up, y'all? Good morning. Here's breakfast. Hey, lost track of time. No, we can fall. Let's get moving. And clean up the face. Tonight, tonight, yo. We gonna stay and pray. Let me go, say, come on, say. It's the first one. All
Woo! And that's what we're talking about, baby. That's what we're talking about. So, as you can see, we have one of our shows, The Mother's Place, is playing right now. But before we get to that show, you guys, how do you feel today? Do you feel amazing? Well, you should feel amazing because guess what? You're living, you're breathing. That means that you have a reset. You can go ahead and get started with your day on today and start fresh and new. For those of you who do not know who this voice is on the other line, this is Dr. Tina J. Ramsay, the host for CTR Media Network. And I'm also the host of the Tina Ramsay Show and podcast. Today we're celebrating. What are we celebrating, people? We're celebrating International Podcast Day. So happy International Podcast Day. Yes, this is our 18th year of podcasting with this amazing platform. This is not our 18th year. This is the 18th year International Podcast Day have been celebrated. And we are actually going to be streaming live the People's Choice Podcast Awards today at 6 p.m. EST. So for those of you that didn't know that podcast is this a real thing, honey? This is the real thing, hunty. And they have been going strong for 18 years. We actually have our own day. So shout out to all the new budding podcasters, for all the people who've been in the game for a long time, making an impact, a positive impact by sharing your voice and your purpose and aligning yourself to be able to be around the four corners of the earth, being able to be a powerful voice through the power of podcasting. You're going to be seeing some of our podcasting shows throughout the day along with this award show. So get ready. And we're getting ready to, right now we have the Mother's Place. Yes, we have the Mother Place on the line. Yes, we do. We have her on the line and it's already broadcasting right now. So we're going to tie in the Mother's Place. So for those of you who need some inspiration and some hope, and you are a mother, whether you're a single mother or you're not, this information can be valuable for you. So we're going to share this information with you right now, and we are going to go ahead and I'm going to yield back, and I'll be back in a moment after the Mother's Place airing. So have a great day, and I'll be popping back in to talk to you. Make sure to let me know where you're tuning in from, so when I come back, I'll give you a shout out, baby. I'll call your name out. I will say your name. Yes, shout out to Lawrence Manifest Gantz. Yes, Lawrence Manifest Gantz. Thank you so much for not only watching, but liking this video. On that note, you guys have a great, amazing rest of your day and enjoy The Mother's Place, a podcaster on CTR Media Network, which is stating a new standard of podcasting. We'll be back. I'll be back in a moment. Enjoy The Mother's Place.
This is my trauma. My trauma comes with abandonment. And I have to be open with people and say, hey, listen, before we get into this friendship or relationship, I need you to know I'm dealing with abandonment issues. You know, although it's not as intense as it was back then, because I've, dealt with it, I've named it, I've identified it. And when I catch myself personally becoming that person to please and to beg, I'm like, okay, Ryan, hold up now. You're going back to that place again when you were 6 and you were begging for this time. You have to understand that people have their own life, and you have to, back up a little bit, but you have to be open and unpack that thing and say, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. And a key thing with unpacking that baggage, let me just say, you have to be ready to revisit that moment of where it generated from that root. Because we too often put a Band-Aid over it and try to move forward, but you definitely have to be open enough to be willing to revisit that moment and identifying it.
I love that you said you had to put a name on it. You definitely have to put a name on it so you can call it out. And
Right.
that's like anything in your life. Everything has a name. So why would we not name our trauma to pull it out? So I love that. And you also talked about going to the root, because we know that anytime that you realize some things about yourself, there's a root to it. And until we go back to the root, we cannot pull it out. We have to go back to the root. So I definitely love that. I definitely love that. Was there anything, so I definitely heard you talk about abandonment issues. Of course, abandonment issues do lead to a multiple of things. What else in your life have you experienced where you had to go back to the root in dealing with relationships and understand it, unpack it, and then come forward?
Other times in my life, I know with dealing with my ex-husband, as I mentioned, I'm a divorcee. So at that period of time, I was at a place in my life where I was at a settled place. And it was like, okay, you're at a certain age, you just need to go ahead and get married. And I recognized, although I didn't grow up with my father, I married a man who had the same similarities as him. He was an alcoholic. He was abusive verbally. And, he just took me to a place. And even though he did all of those things, again, remember, because I dealt with abandonment, I didn't want you to leave. So let me try to do something different to make you stay. Let me try to do something different to make your behaviors change. It didn't work, of course, but I had to go back to that place and say, okay, again, you are trying to relive that moment where you had a person, you tried to get to act right, and it wasn't going to happen. And you have to come to your own self and say, Ryan, listen, it's bigger than that. In order for you to be healed, again, identifying that issue and naming that issue is key. And you have to be willing to go ahead and say, okay, we revisit that moment. We're taking the time. You have to face your emotions as well. Facing your emotions is important because you try to put a Band-Aid even over that moment, of how you feel. And it's like, okay, again, like I said, it's going to get better when realistically, it really is not going to get better until you better yourself. So you have to allow yourself to heal from that root and allow yourself to heal from that actual moment that you're living in at that time as well. And for me, that it was key for me, to get over that overcoming stage, even though, again, every now and then, you still have those moments where you have to remind yourself, I'm not in that time where that root was created. I'm in the present time. And affirmations are very important in those times as well, because you have to start speaking healing over yourself. You have to start speaking, I'm not going to allow myself to continue to live in the past, because living in that past is not going to be successful in any relationship that you're moving on to. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, it's only going to become toxic the more that you're reliving those moments. It's not, because if you're trying to build something with someone new, it's not that person's fault.
Right.
But putting it out there helps them understand more how to adapt and how to deal with those situations and remind you, hey, I'm not them.
Right. I love that. Like, oh my God, we got some great. Like, I love that. So you said a lot within that. You talked about you said talking about being in the present time. You talked about revisiting the moment. And I think a lot of us, and I feel like a lot of us go through this time where we ignore the moment, right? We ignore it. And I love when you talked about emotions. Emotions are definitely important with anything in life. And I say that because they're like, I told my son, I said, you know what? You know how you watch Spider-Man and he have those spidey senses and all of a sudden he starts to tingling? I said, it's the same thing with your emotions. I am so grateful that we have emotions. Now that we have emotions, we need to build more of emotional intelligence, like everybody talk about all the time, and pay attention to these emotions, because they are definitely key indicators that there's something wrong, right? If there's something negative, if there's something happy, if you're not feeling right around somebody, we have to pay attention to them. I love how you talked about that, and you talked about being present, and speaking healing over yourself as far as affirmations. And you talked about being a divorcee, and I'm pretty sure we're on the mother's place. Of course, we know we're talking to women. We have a lot of single mothers. We have a lot of women who are, may have been in relationships where they were married and now divorced. And you talked about, you dating men that were like your father. And a lot of people, or a lot of women, don't even realize that we actually we actually do this without thinking. It's it goes back to generational curses. People think that generational curses do not exist, but in actuality they do, because it's like, I try to explain it this way. When it comes to that man or that mother over your life, it becomes natural. It's a comfort. You get what I'm saying? It's a
Mm-hmm.
comfort. So when you meet that man, even though you may not see it, it's a comfort. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
familiarity. And a lot of women don't see that. And I believe that that's a part of too why the divorce rates are so high, because even when we get there and we get those spidey senses that there's something wrong, we try to figure out what it is.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And we don't know how to get out of it. And sometimes we feel like it's too late. And we adapt to what our parents say. Oh, you better stay there. You got
Mm-hmm.
a good man. You got a good job. He's taking care of
Mm-hmm.
you. You know what I'm saying? So how do what advice do you offer when couples come like that, where there's one person who's continued to grow in self and they've outgrown the relationship? What would you say to couples, and what would you say to singles who are growing, and when they see that the certain areas of life with people and relationships don't fit anymore?
What I would say to couples first, it's important to discuss traumas on both ends. A lot of times, us as women, we're nurturers. That's natural. And we get into a place where we feel like we can fix everybody. Okay. It's like we're like the Olivia Pope of the relationship. We can fix it. And that's not the case. A lot of times men have traumas that they don't discuss. Of course, they have to be the manly man. Don't cry, hold your feelings in. But you have to be open on both sides. That's key for couples. Be open, be honest, be realistic, and you don't have to accept, if the person's like, oh, well, I'm an abuser. You don't have to accept an abuser, but you can understand, okay, well, this is where it comes down to, where it stems from, and address those things and issues that you do have. When it comes to the singles, especially a single mother, a thing for me as a single mother to a daughter, it's very important for me to show and lead by example. When you talk about the generational curses, one thing for me, I don't want my daughter to see a man that's in the house that's not working, a man that's putting his hands on me, a man who's cursing me out, because that's not the man that I want her to go after. What I want her to see is a man that respects me. So she knows and she says, okay, my mother didn't tolerate a man putting his hands on her. That's not something that's acceptable. So I appreciate that she has godfathers in her life that are in relationships, like long-term marriages, that love their wives. And I love the fact that although she doesn't have a man physically in the home to see it, she can still see it one-on-one when it comes to like her godfathers, and see that there are men out there who love. So she's getting an example. So even for me, when I get into a relationship, she sees me in a relationship, there's another in-home relationship she can see and get an example from. So for single mothers, don't settle because you feel the need that you need to be with a man. Yes, you might get lonely, it's natural. Again, we are full of emotion. That's just us as women. We want the physical touch. Yes. But you also want to, especially if you have young boys in the home too, you want them to see, by an example, a man who is respectful. Just like you want your daughter to see a man that is respectful. And you want her and your son to see a woman and what a woman should be like. We're not supposed to be out here half dressed and, on the phone. And every time your children look, it's like, oh, that's Uncle so-and-so. How many uncles you want to see them with?
That part.
Seriously.
That part. Oh, yes.
So take your time. If you're a single woman out here, take your time. Okay. And make sure you have the right fit. Don't settle. I don't care if you feel like you 50 years old and life is about to be over. Take your time. That'd be my advice. And still, like I said, with the couples, with the singles, address those traumas. Tell them to open up that suitcase and see what they had packed into that bag.
Right. I love that. I love everything that you said when you talked about what you said for singles and what you said for couples. Like, we don't realize the vision. Like ocular, what we see, the eyes actually entrapped. They're like snapshots.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that they got the idea of the camera from the eyes, because we snapping images as we go through life. And so that means that a lot of what we do, our children follow, not by mostly what they hear, but what they see.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely have to get into a life of leading by example. A lot of people don't really pay attention to that, because remember, we were a part of those houses,
right.
like you said earlier, what goes in this house stays in this house.
Mhm.
But then it was, children are be seen and not heard, or it was do as I say and not as I do. And we sitting
Right.
up here like, well, how do you do that? Do
Right.
do as I say, not as I do. I see you with men coming in and out.
Mhm.
I see got my father dating many women, all these different things, and we're like sponges. Children are
Right.
like sponges. We're taking that information in. And I remember when because I wasn't always my best self and my best person. I was trying to strive to become better. But even as I look at my little sisters and I look at my little cousins, I see them going from relationship to relationship, right? And I wasn't that person. I was that person who, okay, guys in, guys, or it was one at a time.
Mhm.
But a pastor came to me one time. He's like, "You got to stop casting your pearls among swine." And I was like, "Wow, he was right," because a lot of the guys that I was dating wasn't the right type of men for my son. And I'm so grateful that it was only like I can name like one or two who he really did not. He was like, no." But that made me want to choose the best person for me and the best person for my son, especially being a single mother. And we have to do that, is look at the person that they are to see if they're worthy of
Right.
leading over your child or your child looking up to them. And I love that. I love that. Even laying the traumas out on the table. A lot more couples need to do that. They need to
Right.
have these conversations about traumas, so when those things come up later, you won't be what they say, slighted or shaded, you
Right.
know. And another one is like, how soon are we to release our traumas? So I'm really funny. Like, I'm that person where I don't wear a mask. Like, I took my mask off a long time ago. Thank you, God, for deliverance with that, because I was like in an identity crisis.
Mhm.
And so I don't wear a mask. I am who I am.
Right.
I'm genuine. But when I go and meet a guy, I don't want to give him that information like straight up on the table,
Right.
but I just want to be myself. So some people and some women have a problem of how to gauge that. How do you gauge with being yourself and then also letting them know your traumas?
Well, key for number one is what we're not going to do is dump your suitcase. In my coaching technique, I use visual coaching. And I always say, like, if you're packing a suitcase, you're packing it usually, like for me, I'm packing outfit by outfit. When I'm unpacking my stuff, I'm taking it out piece by piece. I'm not just flipping it over and dumping everything on the bed, because like it's a bunch of chaos. And it's going to be the same when you are opening up with your traumas and dealing with someone in conversation. You don't want to just say, bam, this is me. It's all on the table. And they're sitting there like, okay, where do we go from here? So you definitely want to keep it just in general conversation. And as you're talking, it doesn't even have to be, I'm dealing with X, Y, and Z. It can just be general conversation of giving different scenarios, to see how they would react to certain things, or just saying, openly. So what are some of the traumas that you're faced with? And they can just start off with maybe one or two things and say, okay, well, I'm dealing with abandonment, and maybe I'm an overcoming alcoholic. Okay, well, that's fine. Let's talk about it. How are you dealing with the alcoholism? And you just have general conversation as you would typically, but you're not just going to put everything on the table,
Right.
all at once, because you're not trying to scare them away. You're trying to build a
Right.
relationship.
Right.
And even if it comes to relationship with family, you could be like, well, listen, I'm dealing with certain traumas from my past of X, Y, and Z. And you're just having a general conversation. Again, not dumping everything out at once, because you don't want to overwhelm somebody. So just piece by piece. That's how I
Right.
would put it out there.
I love that. We definitely we need to talk more about that. And I really believe that people do not know what it means to date or build a relationship that's healthy, or to notice a healthy relationship, because of all the abandonment or all the ways that they have been burnt by other people. So what are your cues and clues as far as noticing healthy relationships, one, and let's see, relationships, I'm writing it down, and also about when you're dating, to learn how to date. We need to know how to date. Like, people don't understand that when we date, we're just having a conversation. We're not it's not specifically a relationship, because we're dating, we're getting to know each other. That means that whether it's a walk in a park, we're going to the movies. I don't even always talk about going to the movies, because I feel like that you don't really get to have conversation and
Right.
learn that person there. So I never pick a movie as a date. It's going out to eat. Let's
Right.
have conversation. Let's, talk on the phone a couple of times. Can you speak to that about realizing healthy relationships, whether it's friends, family, or a guy or a girl for the opposite sex, as well as what it means to date?
Well, when it comes to like just relationship and the dating scene, one, I always say people are going to give you their representative first. You don't get the real person until you get put into different situations or scenarios. When you are put into those positions and scenarios, pay attention to the red
Yeah,
flags.
that
Okay.
part. Hmm.
I don't care what anybody says. Those red flags are so visible. They are waving at you. They tap you on the shoulder. They are in front of you like this. They are there. We just ignore them. But pay attention to the red flags. That is going to be key. In regards to a healthy relationship, I feel like a healthy relationship, when you were in one, you're going to know, because that person, when you start opening up to that person or talking to that person, they are not going to bash you for opening up or telling your truths. A lot of times you can't express your truth because people make you feel ashamed of them. Like, a lot of times for me, I kept a lot to myself, especially when I was right in a dark, dark place. When I dealt with my divorce, I dealt with it privately, because there was a lot of shame and hurt, because I had people who I know was going to just be like, I told you so and so and so and so. But when you have someone, when you're in a relationship, whether it's friends, family, or you're just dating, when they can openly be there for you and help you heal, that's healthy.
And that point fingers.
Right. Helping me heal versus you be like, I told you so. So you said that there is a slap in the face to anybody to shut down. It is. Especially when, I deal with a lot of people who have depression issues. When you look at people who are on the verge of suicide, it's those pointing fingers that push them over those limits. It's the person who tries to just kind of block you out that pushes people over the limits. People who are there with an open ear and who can healthily give you advice and suggestions on how to heal. That's what you want to look for. That is a healthy relationship. Somebody who is supporting you to your healing, not somebody that's helping to tear you back down or keep you back in your slump. So the healthy part is that person who is there to heal you, to go through the process with you, to say, I have you, I'm rooting for you. We're going to get through this. You're not going to do it by yourself, but we're going to go through this together. That's the healthy part.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that. I tell people all the time that one of my how so it was Taryn. I don't know if you saw the show with Taryn, but Taryn talked about boundaries.
Mhm.
We need to start setting boundaries. It was Jennifer Palmer that talked about that too. We need to start setting boundaries, and this is something that I'm even realizing for myself is within relationships, friendships, family, anybody, that we had to start setting boundaries for ourselves. And sometimes when we don't set boundaries, people overtake things, or they push too much. But one of my things, one of my issues, I'm not gonna say issue. One of my boundaries is smacking me with my own mess. Meaning that if you know that this is a weakness of mine and I'm something that I'm overcoming and I'm trying to overcome or heal from, you bet not bring it up and smack me with my weakness. That is my boundary zero. Let's go. I'm done. Because a lot of people take that pain and they dig and they dig and they smack you with it. And it's like, and you wonder why we come out with band-aids. So how do you feel about people? Can you give some advice for people who smack people with their with their other people's pain, and those who are taking that, in and allowing people to hurt them with their past pain?
Those who are smacking people with their pain are people who are still in the healing process.
Oh.
Point blank simple. That's all it is. And the people who are getting smacked, is you're allowing it. In some shape, form, or fashion, you allow people to get too comfortable with you to even come at you that way. Because I'll let you know straight up, listen, this is what we're not going to do. A boundary is a boundary. A boundary is not a punishment. It's just a respect level. And if you don't respect me, we have nothing else to discuss. Point blank simple.
I like that. I like that. It's definitely a boundary is definitely a respect level. And I believe that we as women, we need to put more, we need to put more up.
Mhm.
And that goes back to unpacking your baggage because a lot of times we don't put up boundaries because it's some things that we are trying to attain or we're just being walked all over because that has happened from our childhood and we didn't know how to with, withhold that. Like, oh my God. Like, wow. Boundary is a respect level. Do you have any cliches that you usually use for your business or some words that you like to go by or some affirmations?
I have so many. One of my main things.
What's your favorite one?
Oh my God, I have so many. I I have so many. I'll be honest, a lot of my cliches be so instant. I could just be talking and just like, okay, damn. But it's just one of my main things is just I always want people to know that achieving your purpose is achievable. Point blank simple. That'd be like one of my main things. And I guess I utilize that one more so because even in the stuff that we deal with, our obstacles in different situations of life, it serves a purpose.
I like that.
And like I said earlier, for me, I want to be medicine for someone else to heal. So for me, that's my purpose that I'm trying to achieve is to help someone else heal. So that would probably be like one of my main ones.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because a lot of people don't even equate. Like we're so caught up in finding our purpose and walking in purpose, but we don't equate that everything that we do in life has to have a purpose has a purpose with it. We go and we drink water because we know water is necessary for the body.
Right.
We eat food because food is nutrients for the body. So everything has purpose. That means it has an intent. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So we have to make sure that we walk towards that. I love that. So when we and achieving goals, we don't even look a lot of times we don't even know the vision to achieve, with and getting to purpose. So does that go back with finding purpose and knowing that you have purpose? Does that go back to unpacking your baggage? Does that go back to some type of luggage or having some type of laundry or things that's in your baggage or in your suitcase that you didn't know was there? Do you think a lot of us is walking around without purpose because we didn't know that everything that we packed was intentional?
I believe so because a lot of your purposes, I believe your purpose are things that you overcome, and not only that, it can also be your passion. Like for me, it's two in the same because for me, my passion is to help other people. And my purpose, when I look at the things that I've been through, a lot of times when I look at myself versus someone else, I'm like, gosh, if that person would have dealt with the level of that situation that I dealt with, they wouldn't have made it out. So I had to come to the realization that some of what I dealt with was for someone else. So I feel like my healing process, the ugly healing process that I had to go through to get to where I am now was for someone else to help them get out easier, to help them avoid certain situations. And that's how I look at it when it comes to the purpose part of it.
Wow, wow. I love that. I love that. A lot of people don't look at life like that.
Mhm.
They don't realize that a lot of things it was already written. So we
Mhm.
a lot of us believe in God
Right.
and we understand that our lives were already written. So that means that these were the cards that I had to play. But
Right.
everything has a purpose and there's a lesson within that lesson, within that story.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means that it equates back to purpose. So we get married, we get married we date with intention, right?
Mm-hmm.
So dating with intention is the purpose to get married. That's what we look for, right?
Right.
So I feel like that we have to come back to understanding that purpose is real.
Mm-hmm.
It's achievable, like you said, it's doable, but understanding that we are not supposed to go through life mundane or just
Right.
existing. I
Right.
told my son that the other day, I was like, look here, we have to know that everything that we do has to have an intention behind it. That's the will of
Mm-hmm.
God. We have to have the will and to get up to work to move toward what we want to achieve in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way to achieve that is to have vision. We have
Right.
to have vision. And so if vision, when you have the will of God, when you have the vision, then you can get to the purpose of what
Mm-hmm.
it is that you're called to do. But without that, you're just here.
Right.
How do you help people? I'm pretty sure that you, in your profession or in what you're teaching, as far as your coaching, you ran into a lot of people who were kind of like living mundane,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just existing, allowing other people to control their lives. What do you say to those type of people?
Stop allowing people to unpack your baggage. Stop allowing people to identify who you are. It's impossible for somebody else to identify who you are when they're not you. So that's what I simply tell them. You have to live your life for you. You have to know you for you. When I came up my marriage, one thing I had to learn from about me was me, because I was so busy adapting to other people, I didn't even know my favorite color. So
Wow.
I lived my life on liking and loving things that other people loved, and I knew nothing about Ryan. So I literally had to start from scratch to learn who I was. And to get to know who you are, you have to do things. I did things by myself. I dated myself to get to know me. And I was like, then that's crazy. Like, how do I not know my favorite color? My favorite food, what I like to do. I had to literally do things to get to know that. So you have to, and it's like allowing people to label you. You can't allow people to label you, because you then become that. You have to label yourself. So
Wow.
simply just stop allowing people to do it for you and do it for yourself. Don't allow others to unpack that baggage. Don't allow other people to identify you. You have to identify you for you, and that's simply just getting to know yourself. Spend time with yourself.
Oh my God. When you said that, I didn't even know. You said when I was married and I came out of, you were married, right? That's what you
Mhm.
said. When you came out of that relationship, you didn't even know your favorite color. Oh my God. And I'm pretty sure it's a lot of us as women and as mothers, especially because when we're in a relationship or we're married, we're the wife, we're the
Mhm.
mother, we're the counselor sometimes. Sometimes we got to be the preacher. We put on so many hats because
Right.
we're the person who's always doing, and we're the ones who giving,
Mhm.
constantly giving. There's so much. Sometimes we lose our own identity
Right.
within self, and
Right.
that's why the mother's place was actually created. To help us realign with who we are. So when we come into those relationships, we can keep that person,
Mhm.
that identity of best self. Oh my God, I can't even imagine not even realizing or knowing your favorite color.
Yes,
Something
yes.
so simple. That's like taking you back to elementary school
Mhm.
or taking you back to preschool. You knew that when those crayons came out, those boxes, you knew which color to go to first.
Right.
Automatic. Automatic. But to not know your favorite color, that's definitely a loss of identity. And
Yes,
that
ma'am.
cause that comes from not knowing and being intentional of knowing who you are within that
Right.
relationship. We have to keep oh my God, we have to keep hold to that.
Yes.
Hold
Yes.
to that. Something so simple as knowing your favorite color. Like that is so big to me. If anything from this podcast that I will remember, that right there is something to remember. Not knowing your favorite color. Oh my God, how do you speak to those women who have gotten in these relationships and they lose themselves? Like, what word of advice would you give them for right now, as far as not knowing what their favorite color is? Being able to, they're adapting to their relationship and they're actually taking on the identity of their husband, or they're taking on the identity of mother, but not really happy. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women, and I know it was me. I'm gonna tell you right now. I remember being in a relationship and being married. I had lost my identity so much that I wasn't happy. But I knew it was something that I had to hold on to, or it was something that was lost. And what I found out, it was purpose.
Mhm.
Some of us think that our purpose is to be wife
Right.
and mother and to be that person. But I forgot that God also had a purpose for my life.
Hmm.
What do you say to the women or the mothers that's in that situation? They're married and they feel unhappy, unsure, not knowing, and they feel like they got caught up and feeling like mother and wife was purpose when actually God really had a real purpose for your life.
One thing I would tell them for them to not lose themselves is to make sure. For me, I'm a huge cheerleader when it comes to self-care. You have to always remember you and take care of you. Always take that moment for yourself. It is much needed. Don't forget about it. That is key and essential to you fulfilling who you are and just being there mentally every single day. You have to sometimes, even as a mother, you need that break. As that wife, you need that break. You have to take that moment. So that is key and essential to not forget who you are. Take that time to yourself. Take time and to spend time in meditation. Take time to journal from time to time. Take time just to get that 5 minutes of woosah, to breathe, and just to reset yourself. A lot of times we often need to reset. We're so busy on the go from day to day. As you mentioned, we wear so many hats, mother, wife, and so many other hats. Taking the kids to games and sporting events and different things of that nature, cooking dinner, working your full-time job, running your business. You have to have that moment to reset, to remember before all of this occurred, what was your game plan? What was your goal? Don't let that thing go hide into the bushes, go to the side. Go back and revisit those things that you wrote down, those visions that you had wrote down prior to you becoming the mother, becoming the wife, and know that those things are still achievable. They might seem like they're delayed, but they are not going to be denied. Allow those things to still live and not die. That would be my word of advice.
Oh my God, delayed and not what? Oh my God. They have been delayed and not denied. I love that. And we hear that so often. I think we need to revisit that as well. Now, when you said need a break, like when I tell you, I just told my mother this the other day. We were having a conversation about me being mother, when I first had my son. So here we are. I'm pretty sure you went through this too as Coach Ra, and a lot of us women do. We get into these marriages, we get into relationships, we have that baby, right? That first child. And the man always, oh, I'm going to be there. I got your back. I'm going to support you. You know what I'm saying? And then the baby, they might do it for the first couple weeks. I might give them a month. A month. I might give them that. And then about the second month, they not getting up in the middle of the night, like they used to. So you get up and do it and you forget. I'm pretty sure that it's a lot of mothers out there that experience that with a mate or a husband. And I remember I told my mother, I said, one time I told my son and his father, get out. I said, Coach Ra, no, for real. I said, get out. Take your son, take him to your mother's house, go somewhere, but get up out of here. Because I was tired and I had been exhausted. I had become drained. And he was not doing the things that he was supposed to do to help the situation. I was cooking, I was cleaning, I was being wife, I was being mother, feeding the baby, feeding him in the middle of the night, being on his and being on the baby schedule because you don't get sleep with that. Okay.
Mhm.
Being on the baby schedule. And I just said, you know what? Get out. I needed a day to replenish
Mhm.
myself, to be replenished. And then it seems like when they came back, I was like, well, hello. Well, thank you. I'm back. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I definitely love that. Like we have to get into that mode of getting a break. We need
Mhm.
that. And I know, and that's why we're gonna talk about this because I'm doing a lot of things with the Mother's Place.
Mhm.
Um to reach out into different communities to build other communities of mothers to help each other out because I'm pretty sure it's a lot of single mothers who need that support from one another. I love that. Reset. We definitely have to reset in everything. Like I said, I came back and I was like, well, hello. Welcome.
Brand new person. Mhm.
I had to reset myself. I had to do a reset because I did not want to take my energy or bad karma and
Mhm.
put it on somebody else, my child or his father. I love that. I love that. Oh my goodness. We have to do more of that. Is there any way that you enjoy breaking? How do you break? How do you reset?
Well, for me, let me just put this out there. I love my village. Let me say that.
Oh,
My village comes through because a lot of times I don't even have to say I need a moment. They be
okay.
like, you need me to come pick up baby girl for a few hours and say nothing else. Look,
Right.
I'm waiting for you. But for me, journaling is key for me. Because even though I'm a coach, I'm still a private person with a lot of things because everyone can't handle your truth.
Right.
But those that can, I give it to them. I'm like, listen, I need to just put it out there. You ready? Because it's coming. But journaling for me is
Disclaimer,
key.
disclaimer.
Right. Journaling is key for me. Another way for me, I love water. So spending time by the beach. These are ways for me to help reset. Water, outdoors, like I love the sky, looking at nature, listening to like inspirational music, things of that nature. That's what helps me to just reset. It puts me in a place of peace, and then I'm ready to just go ahead and conquer whatever's next. It's like, okay, life, come on, bring it on. I'm ready.
Right.
But those for me would be my top things. But
Awesome.
journaling would definitely be the number one thing for me.
Oh my God. So while we're talking about journaling, I want you to I want you to tell people what you do with your business as far as coaching, because I do know you have a journal as well, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I do know that you have, I remember that you had a journal. You have a couple of journals that you actually give out and you actually get for people to purchase. Can you tell us more about journaling and how you use it in your coaching services and in different things?
Yes, at the time I do have two journals. One is a 30-day journal. It is called Everlasting Grace. It's a devotional journal which offers you scriptures, and it starts off with an activity which I love that I do in my coaching. It's a mirror activity. So it causes you to sit in front of the mirror and you are going to talk to the person looking back at you. And I think that that's a necessity in healing because it's just you and the person looking back at you in the mirror, and it gives you that time to just put it out there. So that journal gives you different activities and scriptures through each day for 30 days. And I also have another journal called the You Are affirmation journal. This journal gives you an affirmation like you are wonderful, and it backs it with the scripture and gives you an opportunity to journal with it. So in both of those, you have opportunity to write down your feelings, different things from the scripture that you might have picked up, or different notes, that you might receive from that particular scripture. So those are the two journals that I do have currently, and I highly encourage them to any of my clients. I definitely, with my coaching, I do offer the Everlasting Grace one is one that all of my clients do receive because I feel like it is key to the healing process.
I love that. I love that. People don't realize how journaling actually is it's a great tactic to use in the healing process. I never knew the importance of journaling until I was younger. When I was in school, you in school and they ask you to, make those journals, and you looking like, why? Why do I always have to write down what I did today or what my thoughts were? But then as time progressed, I would go back to those journals of the years before and be like, whoa, like, wow. And sometimes Facebook even helps with that when they say, hey, this was you 10 years ago, and it's like either I'm still there or I'm progressing.
Right.
And it kind of lets you know, like, hey, wait a minute, everything that's in life, we talked about this last Tuesday in Clubhouse. Everything in life, we're supposed to evolve mentally, physically, and spiritually. If we're not evolving, then we have a problem.
Right.
But when you keep a journal, The journal is pure evidence that you have grown.
Right.
And a lot of times we don't see it. So journaling is definitely important. I
Mhm.
love what you said about your journals. Can you tell us more about your business with the pursuit
With Pursuit of Your Purpose,
of
as
your
I mentioned
purpose?
beforehand, we offer coaching. I'm a like purpose coach with it. I do offer motivational speaking. My motivational speaking is focused on mental health and the healing process. Um, also do relationship recovery. As I mentioned, I am a divorcee, so I know that a lot of people make the divorce process seem so easy and spectacular. And I always say, for me, yes, I had a divorce party, but that divorce party for
Look, look,
me,
look.
yeah, it was liberating because I was leaving one chapter and going into a new chapter. And that chapter needed to be closed. And I believe on your clubhouse, one of the speakers who were on the floor, she said, um, divorce for her, it was I forgot the
Saved her
word.
life.
Yeah,
Is
it
that
saved
you
her
want?
life. And for me, it saved mine because nobody knew during my divorce I attempted suicide twice.
Oh wow.
And I got to a point where I said, well, God, either you're going to remove me from this situation or I'm going to remove myself from the situation. So I need you to do something for me. And I focus on, like I said, the relationship recovery because again, it's a process, especially with divorce. It goes through stages. So I want people to know that they're not alone when it goes through the stages. Yes, you have a lot of people supporting you, like, yeah, I'm glad you finally got it over with it, and blah, 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 blah. But let me be there for you to help you go through these phases because I've been there. I know what it's like to go through each one of these phases through the divorce, the resentment phase, and you have your happy days. So divorce recovery, it is not even with the divorce. Those who are in long-term relationships, when you go through that process, I can assist, I do assist with the relationship recovery on that as well, because that is important. I assist with self-esteem building because self-esteem is something that I had issues with growing up, which now is no longer a problem. That's something I overcame. And then also with depression, I do assist with that as well. So those are some other areas that I do assist with. And I also do some mentoring with young people. And my coaching is not just based on women. I also have some male clients as well. I think a lot of times people feel like when you look at a life coach, and you're getting some type of help, it's like, oh, that's a woman thing. It's not. It's
It's
open.
not.
Everybody needs it. Even a coach needs a coach. So it is what it is. But yeah, those are areas that my business assists with.
I love it. Even when you talk about relationship recovery and divorce recovery, we don't realize that it all connects to self esteem. It all connects to depression. It all connects to all those other things that come with it, within that. So everything connects. So I love that. We got to do better. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if we need that help, we need to start reaching out instead of
Right.
just passing on our baggage from other relationships and traumas to
Mm-hmm.
other people. So that is that in between stage. Like, I believe that every time we go through a different stage, we have to pause.
Right. Right.
And within that pause, we need to discern and discern if we need help before going to that next level or that next
Mm-hmm.
relationship. And I believe that's where a lot of our parents messed up at. They didn't have that break. They just
Mm-hmm.
felt like, oh, you're supposed to be in a relationship. Oh, we got to be married. But then
Right.
when things happened, they didn't know how to get back on track. So they ran into other things, whether it was drugs, whether it was
Mm-hmm.
alcohol, whether it was other people, whether
Right.
it was taking out their anger on other people, whether it was becoming bitter.
Mm-hmm.
All these things go back to taking a pause. Like, we need to take a break. We just need to, somebody said the other day, just silence the noise
Mm-hmm.
and just sit there. Sit there. Journal if you have to. I love when you talked about journaling because a lot of times when you just journal and just write, you never know what's coming out. And that's
Right.
actually the spirit within just speaking when you're not thinking. It just comes out on paper. So I love that. I love that. I love when you talk about that. I believe that we are in a place, especially in the African American community, every community really, that we need to get into a place of learning how to be better stewards of
Mm-hmm.
our relationships and connections to other people because it starts with self. And then we'll be able to respect other people's relationship with us. And it's a lot of self-healing, because if we don't heal ourselves, then we're passing on that trauma and that baggage to that next person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's through whether it's a mate or your best friend or a friend. And
Right.
if I don't have that self-esteem and that confidence, so then when I go into this relationship and somebody has that, I attack that because I don't have it. And it's not cool.
It's not. And that's why I say to people, you have to understand it's okay to not be okay.
That
It's
part.
okay to not be okay. We are human. We have a plethora of emotions. We're happy one day, we could be upset the next, and that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. And once we come to that realization, we're gonna be all right.
Oh my goodness. I just pray that we all get there, because I believe that the world would be so much further than where it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
If we just stop, take that pause, break,
Right.
assess the situation, get help, and
Mm-hmm.
then go forward. But
Right.
it's okay to not be okay. I love that. We have talked about so many, you have gave so many, nuggets from the day. We talked about your business, which is pursuit of purpose. We talked about, and so our title today was unpacking relationship baggage. We talked about, sometimes our relationships with our families in our youth or in our younger stages actually have the impact on our later years, on our latter
Right.
life. I say to people all the time that God gave us family because so we'll know how to connect with other people outside of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're going to tell you the truth. They're going to be the raw. They're going to be their individual versions of themselves, and we can't pick and choose. I
Right.
can't say to my sister, "You're no longer my sister today.
Right.
You my sister every day." I can't say to my mother, "Nah, I think I want to go back to the mommy store,"
Mm-hmm.
because she was my mother. So dealing with family and that those situations that happens within our childhood does affect our later years. So you talked about how that is very important that we heal that past trauma with that family so we can have healthier relationships. You talked about toxic people and how we should, disassociate ourselves, from the toxicity of other people when they have their own issues that they're passing on to us. And we talked about people pleasing. When you talked about abandonment issues, you talked about how a lot of times within our abandonment issues, we actually tend to gravitate toward people, and then we're trying to like plead with them, like, "Oh, it's gonna be okay." No, no, no. We have to realize the onset of what abandonment issues have when it comes to our relationship today.
Right.
Today. You talked about that. You talked about going back to the root. We understand we got to go to the root of something in order to understand it, in order to get healing from it. Because the
Mm-hmm.
more that we keep going and acting like that root don't exist, it'll always come back.
Right.
Like that sunflower. I love sunflowers though. Don't
I
get me
love them
wrong.
too. I
I like
love
sunflowers.
them.
So, but you know how your parents used to go outside and be like, you better go and dig up that root of that sunflower because they know what? It's gonna come right back the next
Mm-hmm.
year. You talked about being divorced. You talked about being at a settled place and how you was married and you was at settled. You was just there. It was like mundane. We talked about how we had to revisit moments, facing emotions and how emotions play a factor in what we go through, and that we have to pay attention to them. Revisiting moments, we don't want to ignore the moments. We talked about being present. We talked about important it's important to discuss traumas when it comes to relationships,
Mm-hmm.
how, and then also think about the things that we don't discuss. We need to have we don't want to, I like how you said, we don't want to dump our luggage on other people.
Right.
That means just putting everything out on the table and just saying, "Oh, you got to deal with it." No, it's through conversation, it's through dating, it's through those things that we talk about our traumas. Singles, you told us that we need to, especially single mothers, oh my God, we need to show up and lead by example. I'm going to put
Yep.
this, Taryn put this up here earlier. She said, "You better say it. You better say it. Lead by example." This was my word. So today, my word is vision. And also my word of the week is boundaries. Is that we have to remember that our children remember more of what they see than
Right.
what they hear.
Right.
So within that, they're automatically downloading those images that is creating their identity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of times we pick up and we do some of the things that our parents have done because automatically we think it's the right way and it's familiar.
Right.
So we have to do better at that. Lead by example. I don't want to put anybody in my life who's not great for my son.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank, period. The man that I want him to become, that guy should already somewhat be on that road to instill that and be a
Mm-hmm.
great example of that. And it holds me accountable, even as
Right.
a mother.
Right.
It holds me accountable like, oh my God, I have to be the best for my son. I have to self-check myself on some things. We talked about healthy relationships, people giving their representative when you first meet them, and we have to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that we know that. Pay attention to those red flags, like these
Mm-hmm.
red lipstick,
Yes.
red flags, because they say when people show you them, receive that it's them.
Right.
That was an awesome one. You talked about dating yourself, knowing yourself, spending time with yourself. We need a reset. I told you how we always need a break. Especially
Mm-hmm.
as mothers and as women, we get to a point where we need a break. I told my son and his father, get out, okay, get out. And when they came back, Betty Crocker on again.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. We need that reset.
Mm-hmm.
Journaling. You talked about how we should find other avenues of expression or to take that break. And you talked about water as being a healing nature, walking in nature. I love nature, okay? I want to walk barefooted on the grass all the time. I love bees. I'm a bee lover. I am.
Okay.
Yes, I am. Because if the bees die, we die.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
part. And they actually, they actually keep us here because they're connected. Everything is a cycle. And so I love bees and I love a tree. I love trees too. Inspiration, inspirational music is definitely one of my things. And journaling is definitely a way of release for
Mm-hmm.
me. I write all the time. Actually, I'm a doodler. Okay, I would doodle. I'm a doodler. I doodle. Self-esteem. You talked about you had a divorce party. Now that right there was a trip
Mm-hmm.
because that just came along within the last couple years, and we probably need to like maybe engage that more because it is a freedom
Mm-hmm.
to being divorced, especially if the divorce was tragic to
Right.
where you may need it to save it saved your life like Trump Timer said before. But I love all of these things. I'm so grateful that God has positioned you in this place to help women. We need people like you to tell more of your story and to help us unpack our luggage, unpack our baggage. And I'm pretty sure a lot more of us have a lot of baggage that we're not even attesting to that we have
Right.
you know. But I'm so grateful that people like you. I hate that you went. I say this on every show. Like, I hate that you had to go through the things that you went through in order to become the person that you are. But thank God that you made it to this point to help everybody else unpack their baggage. So I just want to say thank you so much for that, Coach Ra. I look forward for you to
Mhm.
do many things. I'm pretty sure we're gonna stay connected because
You are.
people don't know. Like Coach Ra helped me sometimes. She helped me. Like this is the person I call out to for help. As you know, I've been through some traumatic experiences when it comes to relationships, whether it's family, whether it's male women relationships because of my trauma that I've experienced.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Sheila C. Hill Show. And that C stands for come on in this room and have a sit down so we can chit chat just for a little while. Okay, now the Sheila C. Hill Show is the ultimate go-to podcast for ambitious individuals just like you who want to live a more fulfilling and successful life, to get valuable insights
expert tips and inspiring stories to help you improve your lifestyle, grow your business, and enhance your emotional being. Now, in every episode, you'll gain practical tips and insightful wisdom in the company of supportive community of like-minded individuals. Now, this community I call the Thrive Tribe. Yes, you heard me. Sheila's Thrive Tribe. So by subscribing and liking and sharing, you automatically become Sheila's Thrive Tribe, which is a gathering of like-minded individuals who tune in on a regular basis and fully dedicated to the personal growth, achieving business success, and living their best lives. So just don't forget, join Sheila's Thrive Tribe today and subscribe, follow, and share. And listen, we're going to make a difference in this world today. So I am your host, Sheila C. Hill. And if you're new, I would like to say hello. Hola, bonjour, ¿cómo está? Ni hao, howdy, and what's up, y'all? I am so glad that you stopped by here, and I am so excited for you to be here. But listen, I'm even more excited to have a special guest with me today. I'm going to bring her on stage, and at this time, I'm going to introduce you to Miss, well, you know what? I'm going to be all official. Let's say it this way. She is a 3 times best-selling author, international speaker, podcast coach, homeschool educator, podcast network owner. I present to you none other than Dr. Tina J. Ramsay.
Yay! Thank you. Thank you for letting me be. I'm so excited to be here on the Sheila C. Hill show.
You're welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. Dr. Ramsay, do you prefer Dr. Ramsay or Dr. Tina?
At the end of the day, I was born Tina. So whatever floats your boat. Dr. Tina. I mean, people call me Dr. T, Tina, Coach T. You know, it don't really matter to me.
Okay, I'll call you Dr. Tina. Okay, now can you just give us a brief introduction of yourself and just a little bit about your background and your expertise?
All right, so I'm going to give you guys a short description about me because, Lord, I love hearing about other people more than me saying all the things about what I do. So I'll give you like an overview. Okay, so for those of you who do not know me, my name is Dr. Tina J. Ramsay. I am a podcast coach, podcast host, and executive producer of the Tina Ramsay Show, which is a popular TV show that is actually in the top 2% of popular shows in the world out of over 3 million shows in the world. I am also the CEO and founder of CTR Media Network, which is a new standard of podcasting. We reached 350 million global.
Yes.
Yes, we're in over 100 plus countries, and we specialize in helping entrepreneurs and podcasters maximize their visibility online through the power of podcasting. Like she said, I'm also a 3-time best-selling author, and we have the amazing thing helping people tap into their potential and also have like a blueprint, so to speak, of how to do what they need to do in order to be a successful podcaster. Because I'm a full-time podcaster. That's what I do. Thank you for having me on your show.
So excited. And listen, I have the book as well. It is my Bible for podcasting. So please go to Amazon and pick up your book because it is wonderful. I love it. All right. So now, some things that people may not know about you. What is your guilty pleasure?
Ooh, child. Let's see. Let me go down the list. I love potato chips. I mean, like, really, once you get to know me, you know it's about 3 things that I love: Spanish dip, potato chips, and I absolutely love being in pajamas 24 hours, 7 days a week. If I could, now I am not that comfortable to go walking out to the grocery store with no pajamas on. I'm talking about in the house. In the house.
Okay,
yes.
I
absolutely love lounging pajamas. I mean, I just love them. Like, listen, if I wasn't on this interview, I'll be in some pajamas right now. Like, I put on clothes when I need to. I take my shower, take my bath, and put on a fresh pair of pajamas. I just love it. I need to give me some CTR Media Network pajamas.
That's what I was just about to say. Yes, you need to get some customized. And listen, I'm sure plenty of viewers would love to wear it as well. Have it in your shop. Oh yeah, there we go. CTR Media Network pajamas coming soon. Okay, so with you getting into podcasting, can you share a memorable or impactful moment when you realize that the positive impact of your work, when you realize like this is what I'm here for? Can you just share that?
Sure. One thing comes to mind. There's several things, but one that stick out the most is when I was going through my time of doubt. I was going through my time of doubt. Because many times people look at me now and they be like, oh, she know how to do this. She has done that. She got this nomination. She got this award. She got this, blah, 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 blah. Listen, everybody who is a true entrepreneur, who is a true podcaster, you go through what I call the roller coaster ride. You have ups, downs, twists, and turns. But ultimately, if you keep on moving, you get to the end of your destination, but it's not without kinks. And so during this particular time, I'm in season 8 of the Tina Ramsay Show. We're getting ready to start season 9. But round about season 2 and season 6, I had that moment when I was going to literally stop the Tina Ramsay Show altogether. I mean, I really got fed up. I was like, I can't do it anymore. My life was busy. There was so much going on, so many deaths in the family. I homeschool my children. I'm a wife for 22 years. I'm a daughter. I have parents that's aging. I was like, I'm just not. Okay, I'm done. And I don't really even think people really paying attention. They're listening how much work, investment, time it takes to do a show. And so I just was going through it. I guess you can call it depression. So I was going through it. So I'm one of those coaches and one of the people that's totally 100. Okay. I love that. Season 6 was literally my Message of Hope series, because every season I have a theme. And so season 6 was my Message of Hope, and I brought in men and women from all over the world to share what they do, whatever it was. And then literally at the end of the episode, they would give a message of hope, whatever it is that resonates with them. And I was doing it kind of like a time capsule, which they did not realize. So I can keep putting it out there so that even in my absence, I could still be pouring into people, even though I felt that I had nothing else to pour back in. And literally I got hired to host the She Trucking Expo, which made history. They got a proclamation in a day and all this from the governor, all this stuff.
Woo!
And I was,
wow.
Yes, by Sheree Moore. And literally I got hired to be the host of the virtual side of the event because I couldn't go in person. And it was 5 days. And literally her grandmother that's over 90 plus years old, they said that she used to fall asleep on everybody's show, like literally. And she literally sat down and I interviewed like all the different speakers and stuff and sharing with them and telling them about going to the expo. And she literally watched every single episode back to back, did not go to sleep. And all of them was like over an hour and a half long. And after that, she was like, oh my goodness, why is she not at the expo hosting the expo? She is amazing. She's going to be larger than Ellen DeGeneres. She absolutely, I love her, the spirit. You could tell she would got blah, blah, blah. So Sheree called me and said, look at my grandma. She took a screenshot and she just poured into me without her even knowing that I had decided to quietly exit the podcasting industry and the media industry because of all the different things that was going on in my life. And she poured into me like no other. And she was like, no, you got to keep going. People need to hear this. This is God. You are amazing. And her daughter was like, my mother never stayed up watching all of this. She was like, I want more of her show, more of her show. So at the time, I'm a person like this. Even if I lose my way in believing in myself, if someone else believes in me and they ask me to do something that I feel is genuine and pure from the heart, and I really feel it's God driven, I'm gonna do it if it's in my power to do. So she told me, she said, please continue show, not knowing what I was planning to do. And this is why I know it was God. And so I was like, okay. I said, okay, I'll keep doing the show. And keeping my promise to the beautiful Miss Hattie, I kept my show. Little did I know that a couple days after that, she would pass away. She passed away.
wow.
So one of her last people that she spoke to was Sheree, myself, and another lady. Of course, her daughter as well. But outside of her family, she spoke to me and she poured in life. And she said things to me that only a person that is with God could say, because it was my quiet prayers that no one knew about, my quiet thoughts, my fears, my reservations. And she said that to me. And she said, you have no idea what's in store for you. And I kept going. During that time, I was going through business stuff. It was so much that I had to rebuild and restructure the entire business. And because of her, I kept going because I didn't want to let her down, even though I felt I let myself down. And now I have this renewed confidence. And now I have like 30 plus podcasters that depend on me. So even if I want to say I throw in the towel, I can't, because I have other people that's there. I absolutely love what I do. And I appreciate individuals like you that take on the vision and the mission, because this is bigger than me. I'm just a messenger, a vessel into the big mass of what God wants to happen. And every one of us plays, I call you guys beacons of light, because every one of you has something about you that needs to be heard by millions of people that I can't do. Okay. And so with us being a massive team, a massive community, we can't imagine the impact that we're going to make, that even going to outlast our lives, because it's a digital time capsule. It's going to be here forever. And so literally our great grandchildren can literally watch and see what great grandma Tina, Dr. Tina, Coach Tina, me, mom, whatever. Look how she said what she was doing. And that's the same with you, because we're making a digital imprint. And I know that was kind of like a long-winded answer, but
that's good. Yes,
that's why.
I love it.
And so that's what I do.
That's awesome. And we're so thankful that, it took Sheree's grandmother to speak into you, to let you know that you're on the right path, because we do at times get weary. We question ourselves. It's so many different things, and just going through life by itself. But being an entrepreneur is not for the weak at heart. And no way. And actually, this episode is actually a part of a series entitled "Entrepreneurship is Not for the Weak at Heart: Prioritizing Mental Health for Entrepreneurs." Because in the National Institute of Mental Health, it stated that 72% of entrepreneurs are directly or indirectly affected by mental health issues, compared to just 48% of non-entrepreneurs. That is major. That is major. And that's why I wanted to shed some light on this conversation, I made a social media post just recently, and I asked the question, what are some common mental health challenges faced by entrepreneurs? And the response was just overwhelming. I received hundreds of comments, but the top responses were depression, anxiety, burnout, and imposter syndrome. And through this series, we're going to touch on all of those because we not only, it's part of knowing it, but the next thing is, what do we do about it? What actionable steps can we have to help those entrepreneurs that's in these areas? Now, my question to you is, let's just start off for a person who has no idea about being an entrepreneur. They're a new business. Let's start slow first. They're a new business owner. What advice would you give someone who's just starting out in business?
Okay, a lot of people ask me this question. Now, first, I'm going to start off with a disclaimer. Okay, listen, I do not classify myself as a business coach, even though I can be. But I'm staying in my lane. I am a podcast coach and a homeschooling consultant, but I will give you my personal experience on things I wish I would have known. So for me, when I would say for any person who is starting out as an entrepreneur, it's one thing that you need to understand. It's very less than likely when you first start your business, not unless you have everything figured out from the jump, that you're going to start making the income that you feel that you deserve in order to change your life the way that you want it to be changed. You have to understand that it takes patience, it takes due diligence, it takes investment, and it takes sacrifice. And all of that may not happen all at one time. So I encourage any entrepreneur, do not just start a business off a hot trend or a hot thing that's trending because everyone else is doing it and they're saying they're making thousands and thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, or let's even say millions of dollars. And you think, well, if I do it, I can do it too. I can make that too. Not likely, okay? Not likely. And so what I want you to do is think about whatever it is that you absolutely love to do that brings value, that is a solution. The key is that it's a solution. It can't just be something that you like, because we like a lot of things, but do it provide value to someone else's life? And will it solve a problem? Entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, are problem solvers. So what is it that you can do that can solve a problem that you will do that even if you didn't get paid? And so you write all those things down and then you start working on them. So whatever it is, your top 3, you can start working on those things because keep in mind, you're going to be doing a lot of long days, a lot of long nights, figuring things out. And if you don't love to do it, you will stop, okay, before your harvest come in. So everything that I have ever done has been passion driven, only because I needed that passion to keep me going when I wanted to stop, because I absolutely love helping people. I absolutely love what I do. And even when I didn't make the money that I felt I deserved, it still pushed me through because I love seeing the results of the people that I'm able to help. So do something that you're passionate about.
Awesome.
That's all.
Solve a problem. Yes. Find a solution and you can have a business. But I love that, because the passion, a lot of times people are money driven. And it's not about the money. There's so many people that have a lot of money. They're still not happy. So it's not all, if they say money can't buy you happiness, I'll be like, let me try it. Give me some extra money. I'll try it. But at the end of the day, you have to have that self-satisfaction that you're doing something with purpose, because otherwise, listen, you're just existing. You're not living.
That's true.
No doubt. So at this time, we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back with more questions in that areas as well. So we're going to go to our commercial break, which our episode today is sponsored by a House of Hemp CBD dispensary. Are you tired of dealing with pain, anxiety, or sleepless nights? Discover the ultimate solution at a House of Hemp. It is your go-to destination for superior hemp products that can change your life. A House of Hemp offers a wide range of premium products carefully crafted to reduce pain, anxiety, insomnia, and so much more. Their hemp is grown organically and sourced by trusted farmers, ensuring the highest quality. Don't let pain, anxiety, or sleepless nights control your life any longer. So visit their website at www.ahouseofhemp.com and discover a world of relief. So now it's time to take control of your well-being, experience the power of hemp, and unlock a healthier you. Visit ahouseofhemp.com. Your journey to natural relief starts now. Thank you to A House of Hemp for sponsoring our episode today.
Listen, if anybody's interested in getting into podcasting, grab this book. Go on Amazon, grab this book. It goes with me almost everywhere. This book has like a workbook. It has places you can fill it in. It tells you how to monetize your podcast. It tells you how to set it up. It tells you about sponsorships. It even, listen, go on Amazon and get this book. And this is the Bible for podcasters. Listen, it was ranked #1 in podcasting books. Look right here. Best new podcasting book by Book Authority. Right there. Boom. And a little secret. Y'all, when you grab this book, I think it's page 43. There is a code on there. Listen, you can get access to her class, her course. Get her course. It's worth hundreds of dollars. But this book is less than $50. Grab this book on Amazon. I'm telling you, I carry it everywhere. She is the best. Grab this book on Amazon.
And I love that commercial.
Hey,
and it's so true.
Thank you.
Grab this book. Boom.
Yes, I love it.
You can, yes, and you can tell your hard work with putting the book together and just the details of it. That's why I tell anyone to please make sure that you get this book, because it is a workbook. It is everything all in one. And then it comes with the over 30 videos of teaching. So it covers people who have different learning styles. That's what I loved about it as well, because some people need to write to comprehend reading, and then you got the visual part as well. So listen, it's a one-stop shop for podcasting. So get your book on Amazon today. And once you get your book, don't forget to write a 5-star review on Amazon. Let others know how great this book is. So to Dr. Tina, thank you very much for doing so. All right, so let's get back to this. You're welcome. This entrepreneurship, listen, it is not for the weak at heart. So out of the top things, depression, anxiety, burnout, imposter syndrome, can you share some major challenges that you faced in your journey and how you overcame it?
Okay, so all the above that you said, I have dealt with, okay? And I still deal with it from time to time. I notice the more stressed I get, the more the depression, sometimes the anxiety. You have a deadline that's really, really important. It can happen. And as you already brought up with your statistics, that entrepreneurs deal with this way more. And I feel that we're dealing with this way more because we are handling way more. And really, we're carrying the hopes, the dreams, and the future of other people in the palm of our hands, because they're coming to us for answers. Maybe they've been hoping, wishing, and praying for something, and then you pop up in their timeline, or you pop up in their email, or you they see you at an event and they realize that you are the key to help them get to the next step. Now, that is not something that the faint or the weak at heart takes on. And so being that we ultimately want everyone that comes in contact with us to be successful, we pretty much wear their life, their emotions, their struggles on our shoulders until they reach whatever level we feel or they feel they should make. And so that's one of the struggles as an entrepreneur. Now, I would say this: your food, your diet, your exercise all play an important role in maintaining your mental health in your life. Yes. And many times as entrepreneurs, we're like Sheila, she has an amazing hemp company, right? And so many times we can be providing the solution for everybody else aches, pains, podcasting, business strategists, marketing, branding, all of this. And yet we're not taking care of ourselves as our first customer. I had to learn that I need to be my first customer. Dr. Tina, Coach Tina, whatever. I had to be my first customer. So all the love, attention that I put on my clients and my customers, I need to do that for me first, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to be here for the long haul, because I'm going to burn out. And it can actually dramatically mess with your health. Being a person that already had a stroke before, I'm very cognizant of this. And I had a stroke when I was 25. And for a person that's 25, that job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had a stroke when I was 25 years old. I was a new mom. My baby was only 6 months old when I had my stroke. And I did have problems having asthma and all that different stuff like that, and mitral valve prolapse. For those of you who don't know that terminology, that means your heart valves leak. Okay. And so for every pregnancy that I had, it caused that problem to get worse, more leaky heart valves, which means they want to put a valves and stuff. Well, long story short, I always watch my food, diet, and exercise. I was always remembered in school as that girl that watched the calories, that ate fresh fruits and vegetables, that did it the right way. Food, diet, exercise, but no one ever told me about the importance of the products and the chemicals that we keep in our homes can dramatically affect your health as well. So although I was doing all that and I was jogging 10 miles a day, kept my weight right, ate right, I had a stroke. And complications from some of I feel personally it was complications for some of the asthma medicine and different stuff they had me on at the time. But I had the stroke. I went to sleep. I was not in any pain. I went to sleep and I woke up and I was partially paralyzed from the waist down. And dumbfounded by the medical industry. They couldn't figure out why this healthy 25-year-old was partially paralyzed. I actually had amnesia. I lost 1 year of my life. So in the span of 12 months, I could not recollect what happened in that that year that I was in back 12 months, right? Which means that I just became a new mom within that 12 months, and I did not even remember that I had my child. So I was going through postpartum depression. I was going through, which I didn't know what it was. And when I realized what it was, that it wasn't baby blues. It was deeper than that. Okay. It kept me, and whenever somebody talk about it, I get a little choked up. Literally, I had no connection with my daughter. No connection. My husband and my parents had to take care of my daughter and myself. They had to wash me, bathe me, feed me, just like I was a 6-month-old daughter. I did not remember my daughter. And I was on a lot of medication at the time. And so it was a time in my life of self-reflection, trying to figure out why, because technically I did all the right things, but yet I still was suffering. I was in rooms with people 3-4 times my senior in specialized offices for my bladder, for my heart, for my brain, for my bone. Like, they literally was testing me. I was a test dummy because they did not know why this was happening. And they later diagnosed me, talking about I was a hypochondriac, because they would take all the tests and they would come back normal. But clearly It wasn't normal. So I was going through a lot with the medical industry at the time, as well as trying to find my way as a person and my relationship with God, trying to figure out why did this happen. And I did everything right. I tried to be a good Christian. I felt like I was being tested, but why me to this extent when I try my best to be a good person? And so I went through a very dark period in my life where I didn't care where I lived or died, where I didn't care about what was next, because I felt like my life was over. I had no hope. I had no drive. I had no passion. I lost myself. I did not know who I was. And I was lost being a new parent. But one day, this is how good God is. I was sitting in the lazy boy. My husband had just cleaned me, washed me, fed me. My mom and dad just got finished leaving me, hugging me, taking care of me. And my daughter was in her playpen. And I looked over at my daughter, and she had this blank look in her eyes. She had all the top toys, all the top educational, whatever you want. She had all those things. But when I looked at her, she was empty because she didn't have me. She wasn't smiling. She was there. It was like she was just there. And something in me clicked where I was able to get out of this fog that I was in. And I looked at my daughter. I know it was God. I looked at my daughter and I said, I don't want anyone telling my daughter how good her mother was. I want her to know how good her mother is. And at that moment, I was able to stand up because, mind you, now I'm not able to do it. So I stood up, forgetting that I can't walk.
Okay.
Pulling myself to the playpen, pulling myself up to the playpen, lift my daughter up, literally. I fell inside of the playpen, in the playpen with her, grabbed her, holding her, crying and saying, I'm so sorry, but I'm back, I'm here. And from that point on, I had a new zest for life. I had a new zeal for life. My relationship with God, I started rebuilding my relationship with God. I started going into looking at natural health and wellness, figuring out what's going on, because I was on 12 medications and 4 inhalers a day just to live, and on asthma. And so when I started looking at natural health and wellness, like I call my mama Dr. Carrie, because we used to pick at her all the time, but she would always give us the horsehound tea and all that other kind of stuff. So I went back to my roots and start doing the natural health and wellness. Well, with God's help, I was able to regain my mobility of my bottom extremities. I was able to regain almost 80% of the time that I lost. I was able to talk because literally my limbs was, bent in. My face was slumped. My face came back to normal. I can move. And many people wonder why when I'm on stage, I'll dance to the stage or I'll move around, because I am thanking God. If you think I can't dance, so be it. I don't care. Because I went from not being able to do anything from God renewing me. And I'm grateful for each breath that I breathe, each idea that I have, because I couldn't think properly at one time. And I'm thankful for each step I'm able to make. And I'm thankful for each person that God put in my life, that he saw something in me that he gave me a do-over. Okay. And so I live differently because I see things differently, because I look death straight in the eye. I look it straight in the face. And God said, it's not time. It's not time. I have work for you to do. And so when people see how hard I fight for other people, that's why. It's because I know I'm on assignment. I know that why I'm here. I understand who I am. I understand the path that I'm leading. I understand the people that he put me on this earth to help. And I finally know who I am. The good, the bad, the ugly. And I've been through enough in life that I shouldn't be here based upon the things that I went through. I almost got abducted when I was 5 years old. But God kept protecting me all of these years, keeping me safe for a reason. And this is the reason. Okay.
Wow. So, that's amazing. That is amazing. Oh my goodness. To have so much, that you went through so much, and to come on this side of it and show how you overcame those things is simply amazing. I mean, I'm just almost at a loss of words because our lives run parallel. My things that I've been through as well. That's why I went into natural holistic as well, because of the challenges I had in my body, not being able to walk months at a time. Yeah, so that is amazing. And I just think it's interesting. Now, do you have a book that tells all of this? Because that itself, do you have a book that tells this story?
Everybody is waiting for this biography. I would just say a memoir, but I feel that I personally haven't lived enough. I have had so many people and book houses reaching out about me writing my life story, but I feel that I haven't lived enough life yet. And so I feel that I still have a lot more. I just don't feel like, just like I got like literally, and I have never said this on camera before. This year, I literally got accepted for the President Lifetime Achievement Award, but I turned it down. I turned it down. I said, like, yes, we look at your extensive work and what you've been doing for the past 25 plus years, and we want to recognize you with the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. And I was like, I don't think it's time yet. Like, I appreciate the recognition, just like the Who's of America reached out and said, we've been watching you. We want to put your life in this 2023 book about entrepreneurs. And I said, I don't think it's time yet. So I get a lot of awards and nominations and honors, but some of them I don't all the time accept. I'm very gracious and I'm thankful that they would think about me. But I just don't feel that it's time yet. And if it is, it'll come, this kind of things will come around again. But I'm like, I didn't even live a lifetime yet. What you mean? I just start figuring out my life.
It's somebody's lifetime.
Right. Listen, can you come back when I'm like 85, 90? Like, come on. Like, I mean, I'm thinking of the legends like Patti LaBelle, and all them. They lived life, like, can you come back when I lived a little? When I lived a little bit more. If you're impressed now, then wait till God get through with me. Because I'm just, so I was like, no, I'm thankful for the award because I won it. I said, but I'm going to have to, respectfully decline because I just don't feel that I lived enough yet. Just like with the book, I just don't feel that I lived enough yet. Yes, it's a lot that happened in my life, but I feel that it's something that needs to be in there that if I go too fast, that someone is going to miss a piece that they need in order to go to the next step.
That's why you have a part two. You have a part two. You do the book and go ... to be continued because I'm living my best life. Because just what you just shared will help someone. Had I read what you're talking about when I was down and out, it would have gave me hope. It would have gave me that extra oomph to get out of my bed, to use my inner power to get focus, and on the spiritual side to focus on God as well, because it's so many layers that you just talked about. Oh my goodness. But I understand where you are, but I think you might want to reconsider that.
Yes. Me this. I may, but you have to be, right now I'm doing so much. And I need to be as sharp with my brain as possible. And when I go back into my past, it takes you back to that time of that age, of that experience, the emotion, the smell, the feel of what you were going through. And when you go back, you cannot necessarily pop yourself back to the now because you're putting yourself back in that. Like for me, if I'm going to tell my story, I'm going to tell it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. Many people don't know that I face a lot of different stuff on being abused, not by my parents, because I have the most wonderful parents of all, but I'm talking about sexually assaulted. And so it's a lot of things that people don't know about me that I would have to literally go all the way back to that time when I was that little child and when my parents came to my rescue. I was very blessed that when everything came out, my parents believed me and they took action. I mean, my mom and dad was like, well, excuse me? What?
Yeah.
You know, my mom and dad, I know I hear a lot of stories from people that their parents wasn't there, that, you know, but my parents were there and I'm very blessed in that. But it still doesn't take away what happened, the mental thing that I had to go through. And so it's a lot that I would have to unravel, unwind, go back literally to that time. And to be honest, I don't know if I can and be able to do what I need to.
I definitely get that, understand that. I don't know what that noise was. But I totally understand, because what it would do, it would trigger you. And the mind is so powerful that mind can go right on back to where it was. And you have to be careful about that. I totally understand. Woo! You have just said so much. You have really filled me. I tell you, it's just amazing. And I know that anyone who reads this, personal or business, can be totally inspired by your testimony. Now, how do you balance your personal and your business life? Because that is a problem, a lot of problems with entrepreneurs. How do you do it?
Be honest with you. There's no true balance. It's only what you choose to do at the time. And so I had to come to the realization that we all say this work-life balance. And I'm going to let you know, for me, now unless it's some expert that can come in that specializes in it, can really tell us how to do it, there is no true way to balance your life and your business. It's just priority. So whatever I have to focus on at the time, I make sure I put 100% on whatever I'm doing. So when I'm spending time with my family, I put 100% with them, turn off the cell phones, turn off the this, and just focus on them. When I'm on business, I'm 100% on that at the time. So whatever that I micromanage that I'm doing at the time, that is what I give all of my attention to. Now, is that balance, quote unquote, of what people say? No, but that is normalcy. That is being realistic. And that is how you be able to get through, understanding that whatever you're putting your focus on, that other things is going to go lacking because you're only one person. Right. If I'm focused on my business, I got a deadline I have to do this, that, and the third, then that means I don't have enough time to spend like I want to with my husband or with my children or with my working in the community. That means I have to stay focused on that. Okay, but when I'm working on the community, that means that somebody or something is always going to be lacking when you have to focus on one thing. Okay. And you have to learn to be okay with that. Don't beat yourself up, because it's this little thing called guilt that will really just rip you to pieces, especially when you love everything that you do. You love your children, you love being a wife, you love being a friend, support, helping people in the community. But the realization of the fact is that you cannot be all things to all people.
That's so true.
Only God can be all things to all people. And I think many times as entrepreneurs, we take on the role of God without us even realizing it. Thinking that we can do all of these things and make everyone happy. You can't.
Impossible.
It's impossible. And so me having come to the realization that I have to be okay with not being okay sometimes. I have to be okay with understanding that if I have to focus on this is going to lag. When I focus on that is going to lag. But knowing that when whatever I'm doing in the moment, that I'm giving my best, and understanding that I communicate with my children, my husband, my mom, my dad, my friends, letting them know that this does not mean that I do not love you. I do not want to be with you. This means that I'm working hard right now so that I can be with you more in the future. This is just temporary.
Yes.
Okay. And so I had to understand that. For me, that whole life work balance mumbo jumbo is an impossible syndrome by itself.
Woo, come on, say it, sis.
Listen, honey,
Yes.
listen, it's more true balance. The only
That's
person that
right.
can give us any kind of balance is God. And even with that, he had to be balanced when he was on the earth. When Jesus was on the earth, he had to be balanced. He had to sleep. He had a human body. He had to go to sleep. He had to go off to get rest. Okay. And so we have to do the same. Everything is business and Bible is really correlating. When you look at how things was in the Bible, and you look at business, it pretty much you can find good gems to help you stay focused, to help you do what you need to do, and also understand the why, the how, the when, the where, because it's similarities. It's a lot of similarities when you take your time to peel through it. But I'm sorry, we ain't gonna get on the Bible. I ain't gonna preach to y'all, but y'all, I'm a Christian girl, and so I figure, baby, I'm sorry,
Hey, I'm
but not
too, sis. Yes. Hey, because it's so entwined. So it's who you are. And so then it's okay because it helps you get to where you are. And now a lot of people, when you were just mentioning about imposter syndrome, a lot of people have that, even that work balance, that work-life balance, they set a gauge. And when they don't meet that gauge, then they're so hard on themselves. Everybody is different, and how everyone processes it is different. So if you're listening and you're trying to compare yourself to the Instagram life, to the social media life, baby, that is not the fact. That is the grass greener on the other side. It is artificial turf. It is not true. So I want you to understand, everyone has to find their own sweet spot, I will say, when it comes to that balance. You have to find and take that special time for yourself, that self-care. If you want to get in your pajamas, get in your pajamas, eat your potato chips. You want to do that because, listen, it's only one you, and you have a unique voice that you have to make sure you care for yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you're not here, guess what? Life goes on.
That's true.
Period. Life goes on. So please take that time and care for yourself. It's so important. Now, with Dr. Tina, with all the accomplishments that you have and all the accomplishments and awards that you denied, looking towards the future, how do you see your work evolving or expanding in the future? And is that something that you think on a regular? And what excites you about that?
I do have many aspirations and desires and goals for CTR Media Network in general, to have more than one channel, which we do, to be in more countries and places, to be able to extend the message that in a way that will be able to speak to the people in their native tongue and not just English only. And I have the goal that I want to one day find a protege that it could be my children, it could be a combination of both, but a protege to be able to dispense this information in so that it can continue even when I'm not here. I'm building this for the future, but not for me to be in it the entire time. Okay. And to be involved, but not all the way like I am now, because I see this as a beacon to change the lives of millions of everyday people doing extraordinary things, to be able to find solace, to be able to find financial stability, to be able to find themselves, be able to find resources. So in regards to that, CTR, see it growing and thriving. The Tina Ramsay Show growing and thriving. And whatever that looks like, I really have reached most of all of my goals. Everything now is just extra and improving and adjusting to the times that we're living in. In regards to homeschooling, I still see myself homeschooling children Right now, my baby will be graduating next year. So he's going on to be a senior.
Congratulations.
Graduated the last year, yes. And so I still see myself being involved in the homeschooling community because I have I co-founded a community of over 13,000 homeschoolers worldwide. So I'm not planning on dropping them just because my homeschooling journey with my babies ended. It just means that it's opening up a whole different thing. Maybe I'll start that school that everybody's been begging me to start. Who knows?
Most definitely. Listen, it's interesting because I homeschooled as well, and I understand the ups and the downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But at the end of the day, it is how much you're putting into your kids and catering to what they need as well. So definitely that is a major support that people had. Now, that's one thing that I wish I had. We had a small system here in a small place that I live, but to have like resources, like the resources that you all offer is awesome. It is amazing. Continue doing what you're doing. You are definitely setting the bar so high. Your inspiration, that bar is woo. But you know what? That gives me some goals to reach. It inspires. Baby, you up there.
Listen, I don't even feel like I even touched the surface yet. Many people looking at me like, ooh. I'm like, honey, I don't even feel like I reached the surface. I'm looking at it, but I'm like, let me just touch it, because I'm always looking and building and growing. And I get a lot of recognition and I'm grateful and I'm appreciative, but I thank you and I appreciate it. And then I move on because one thing you never want to lose is your humility. You don't want to lose that. You want to always stay humble because just because you have it now, that don't mean you can have it tomorrow if you do not appreciate it and show the proper gratitude. Think about Nebuchadnezzar. He was a king, but God had to humble him down to a beast in the field, honey. And so I don't have to do this to be no beast in the field. So I be thankful, I be gracious and things like, listen, thank you so much for the honor. And I realized there was a lot of people that helped me get here, most of all God, but I don't focus on it, be like, hey, I'm big girl. Listen. No, ma'am, not on my watch. I'm grateful, thankful.
And that's what
makes
me
I know. Many times people don't know about stuff until we have interviews.
That's what makes you so unique.
Go ahead.
Yes, I love it. I love your transparency and you're so approachable and relatable. And I really appreciate that. I really do. Now, for your CTR Media Network, are you now taking on people to come and join?
Yes, I am currently taking people on. We have a waiting list that's so long. But, but yes, we are currently accepting new podcasters. So if you are a current podcaster and you want to maximize your visibility and be a part of community to learn, because we actually coach you every single month and also exclusively for the CTR Media Network members who are part of our membership program, they get a 30-minute sit down with me for absolutely free when they set it up. So you get a lot of different perks for being part of CTR. We put you in position. We hear about something that we think will be in line with what you're doing. We put you in magazines. We do a lot of different things that other networks is not doing, only because I built this network with God's help on all the things that I wish I had when I was at other places. What I know, when you're a small content creator, you usually not paid attention to, you looked over. And they only pay attention to the ones has the 1 million followers. They only have the ones that get thousands of comments a day. But it's so many amazing small content to medium content creators that are making an extraordinary impact that would not be heard other than through a network that caters to those type of content creators. So we cater to the small content creator, the medium-sized content creators, and we put special effort to make sure that your information, your podcast gets out. We promote you night and day. Okay, we take you with us when I'm traveling. I speak your praises because every single podcaster is not just a podcaster. They're part of a family. And for me, that's like my extended family. My family's extended family. And I realized how you entrusted our team with your mission, with your purpose. And so we don't take that lightly. And so what's different is that we have like a one-stop shop. We have podcast production, podcast interviews, podcast coaching, podcast training, podcast distribution. We even have teaching you about podcast monetization, not only telling you about sponsorships, but I'm actually showing you how to do sponsorships. All of this stuff is crucial and important for ones who want to do the business of podcasting, but also it's important and crucial for individuals who may just want to be a nonprofit and get their message out to more. So that is what your membership pays for, okay? And really, my constituents like your prices is way too low, but this is a God-driven thing, so he will provide. So the goal, and podcast is another thing that you miss. You're putting out this content, but you're not getting listeners because it's not being promoted properly. And so we do campaigns in groups centered around our different podcasters to pitch and put your podcast out so that people can listen to it in the different groups and different arenas to get more listenership, to create opportunities for you. And we give our people 100% monetization. Once your membership is paid, any sponsorships or opportunities that come through, that's your money. Normally, traditionally, the house, which would be CTR, would take at minimum of 30%. And that's just standard. It's not just something, it's just standard if you go to any network. That can change on a floating scale based upon what is being done. But we're creating a new standard of podcasting. So therefore, we want to put the content creators in the driver's seat, and you own, let me say this again, and you own 100% of your intellectual property. We don't want it.
Yes.
We just push it out. So many times you go to other networks and they want exclusivity. You can leave, but the content that you run on their network, they own it. So you don't read, and so you have to make sure you read the small print. You have to make sure that you understand what you're getting into, because I done been through it all. Seem as if. And so I made sure that you guys, if they're part of my network, you can be a part of any other network you want to be a part of. Okay, you don't have to just be with CTR. I want you to expand. I want you to grow. But make sure you do your due diligence first, and make sure you don't sign no flip-flop contract that really makes you an indentured servant of your own show. Meaning you're just there being the face of your own show without reaping any of the benefits of your hard work, which is happening a lot with small content creators. And that's why I have a lawyer and representation, so that you guys are protected. I do my best within my knowledge base to make sure that you guys are protected and that you own. I can't control what you do when you go to somebody else's network, but you own your content, and you can take your content and shop your content anywhere that you want. Whether it's running on CTR, you could take it and run it on something else. I don't care. I want you to fly. I want you to fly like an eagle. I want you to excel. I want you to position yourself and leverage CTR Media Network to get you your dreams. And so I can't say that for other networks, but make sure you do your due diligence. Even if you decide not to go with me, do your due diligence, get you a lawyer, read the fine print, ask questions when you don't understand the languaging, and make sure that you're not signing away your rights to your show, because many people lose it. Many people lose their rights. We have some things going on right now with one person that they was with another network, and they did not realize that
they didn't read that fine print.
It don't look too good. And so think about that. So you own everything over here at CTR. We just a distribution.
Join CTR. So at the end of the day, join CTR Media Network. And it's not just podcasting, because you have TV, Roku TV, and you have web TV. So it's not just that. So you can take your podcast to the next level, or whatever that you have that you want to do. Tap into ctrmedianetwork.com. And definitely, I am so glad to be a part of CTR Media Network. For those who do not know, this is my podcast coach, Dr. Tina J. Ramsay, and I'm so glad to have you here, because I'm following your footsteps, and I'm trying to do what I know to do, what you're teaching to do, so I can, listen, I know what the bottom look like. I done been at the bottom. I want to see what the top is looking like. So I am definitely following your blueprint to take it to the next level. And it's not just one, it's layered. I heard you were speaking one time about how when you first started, and you was getting like $3,500 a month on sponsorships and ads, and you was just satisfied there, until later on it's just like, wait a minute, I could be making what?
I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, the $3,500, I stopped working. I'm like, yay! Then I'm like, girl, you could have went on, girl. What's your problem? Limit your mindset.
Yes. Right. The mindset is amazing. The growth mindset, as you continue to grow, of course, that's the plan for your mindset to grow as well. So I can see from your stories that you tell how you've grown and the different layers that you have. And you're a super dope entrepreneur, and a super dope person, and a person who loves to give. I can see that. I tapped into when I could see your spirit. People don't understand that you bring an energy, and that means a lot when you're genuine, when you're transparent, when you are humble. So I really appreciate that. And I just love the fact that you are who you are. And you just tell people, listen, this is how it is. And even just coming across your social media, it shows that you're a true person. And that's so relatable. So for anyone that's out there who's questioning where they should go, listen, you want to come to the CTR Media Network family. You hear me? The key word is family. And that's very important. You want someone to take your hand, because listen, if there's a pothole, why are you going to walk in the pothole when you got somebody who done been that route and they can guide you? It makes no sense. Success leaves clues. You want to be with a team that is successful, that has been proven to go through the ups and the downs, the bad, the ugly, and everything else, but come out as pure gold. Okay. So that's why you reach out to ctrmedianetwork.com and get connected in as well. Now, Dr. Tina, I know it's time to go, but I wanted to know, I know that you have been nominated. Congratulations, nominated for a Podcaster of the Year. Woo! Yes. Now that so that is I know that's something that we can still vote for. If it's not, it's October 2023 is when they're going to actually have the show. So if you're listening to this before October of 2023, please go to Inspire the Letter U Awards and nominate Dr. Tina J. Ramsay as a Podcaster of the Year. Okay. I want you all to do that for me and for her as well, because listen, she is super dope. Oh my God. I love it. I love you. And now, Dr. Tina, is it, other than your book, your Amazon book, is there something else that you want to offer the audience?
Basically, they can come on and join the team, CTR Media Network, also the book. And I am going to, everyone's been asking, dealing with the homeschooling world. I'm going to actually start putting out, or I would say, updates and redistribute several different ebooks that I have, with a book coming along the way. And you guys, if you need help with homeschooling, we also have a homeschooling magazine called the Homeschooling Interactive Magazine. And it's done the exact same way that the power of podcasting is done. It's very interactive. It takes you to audio clips, videos, courses, articles that you can read. It has coupon codes in so you can save on curriculum. It because the reason why is because I'm an educator over 25 plus years, and I wanted to create something that, like Sheila said before, and I'm glad that you noticed it, that helps all different types of learning styles. Because all too often we buy something and it only addresses one learning style. And that's usually for the studious student that can sit down and read. Well, we're living in a micro world with content coming to us in 30 seconds, super fast. It's creating ADD, ADHD, and everything because we want things super fast. And so in order to kind of help you through the process, I make sure I touch all of it. The kinetics, you get up and move. I make sure you can see it, you can hear it, you can write in it. You can do all the different things right inside. Even the Homeschooling Interactive magazine is made for you to write in. And it's big too. It's made for you. Oh, it's right here. Awesome. It's made for you to write in. It's made for you to write in. So all this is made. You have resources in the back where you can literally get you monthly goals, mental mindset. We have a self-care calendar, a 30-day self-care calendar where you can use that as a guide, or you can follow it, whatever it say, but it's there to give you some ideas or provide access so that you can start doing the self-care things. Because as homeschooling parents, we take care of everybody and everything but ourselves. And I think that is the thing that makes homeschoolers, parents stop homeschooling, because they're not, once again, just like entrepreneurship, they're not taking care of themselves first. Think about it. When you're in an airplane and the airplane is going down, they tell you to give yourself the oxygen first before you give it to your child or your husband or your sister or your brother. Why? Because you cannot help them unless you help yourself first. So we need to stop thinking that self-care is selfish. It's not selfish. It's survival. Yes. It is thriving. It is being accessible to help more, and you're being 1,000% of yourself, because you're operating in an empty silo. You operate in being empty and hollow inside, and you wonder why you lose your cool. You wonder why you feel unfulfilled, because you're not filling yourself up. Helping people, you're pouring yourself out. Every single person that you talk to, every single person that you help, they're taking a little piece of you.
That's right.
They're taking a little piece of you. And if you're not putting those pieces back, and you're doing this over and over and over and over and over and over again, then you are ripping away yourself. Every time. Come on. Every time. And I had to learn that the hard way, because I'm a giver. Okay. I'm not used to receiving. It's hard for me sometimes to receive, but I had to learn to receive so that I can still continuously give. Okay. And so you have to fill yourself back up. You have to fill your well back up, whether that's spiritual, physical, emotional, a combination of all of them. In my case, mentally speaking, downtime, you have to do it, because if you don't, you will not make it. Okay. And that's when we have these mental breakdowns. That's when it starts exemplifying itself in mental health, and exemplifying itself in aches and pains. Aches and pains are signals that something you're doing is causing your body to be misaligned.
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
It's just all what it is. And so that's what I don't know. So I just get very passionate about that, because I know how hard it is for me to do for me. Okay. Yes. And I have to constantly remind myself of that, especially when I feel depleted. And I know when I feel depleted, it's because I didn't do what I'm supposed to do.
That's right.
Do it. So you guys, if you don't take anything from what Sheila and I said today, do you first. You always put God, well, for me, put God first. But for y'all, for the other people who don't do that, I ain't talking to you. But for the other people as Christians, you put God first, and then you put yourself next, and then you work down the list. That's right. So that you can be able to help the people on your list more effectively without killing yourself. A lot of entrepreneurs, we have heart attacks, we have strokes, we have health problems because we don't take care of ourselves. So take care of yourself. And it's not simple.
You heard it from her first. You guys, please take heed to this. It's very important. Dr. Tina, I cannot thank you enough for coming in, gracing us with your presence. I am so thankful for you being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, everyone, please go and like, follow, and share on all podcast platforms, all social media sites, The Tina Ramsay Show. Please do that. I tell you, you will be so blessed to be able to understand the different levels that she has to offer. We just tapped just a teeny bit today. We just tapped a little bit today. But with that, thank you very much, Dr. Tina. You have a blessed day and many blessings to your next endeavors, because listen, if you ain't there where you want to be, baby, I can only imagine your latter being better than your first. You know, I can only imagine. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I got some little clapping. Come on, clap. All right, thank you. So for everyone else,
Hello, everybody. I am so happy that you are here right now. It is 5:55 p.m. EST. And at 6 p.m. EST, we are going to be streaming live, baby. Yes, streaming live, the People's Choice Podcast Awards. So make sure to go ahead and get your popcorn, get your beverage, and take a seat in the living room or wherever you're at. Or maybe you're using your cell phone. I want you to make sure that you tune in. I'm super duper excited because the Tina Ramsay Show and Podcast has been nominated for the Best Black Podcast Host. Thank you very much. And if you didn't know, now you know. Let me tell you what today is. Yes, let me tell you what today is. It is Happy International Podcast Day. This is a day that is put aside for podcasters worldwide, baby. And today, CTR Media Network is in collaboration with the People Choice Podcast Awards. We're going to be streaming it live on all of our social media platforms. So for all of you who are tuning in or listening to us in the car or on the radio or wherever you're listening to us at, baby, come in the building and engage with us. We'll give you a shout out. So we're getting ready to give a couple shout outs. You can write if you're on social media, listen to us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can comment in the comment section and we will give you a shout out. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and let us, if you have a question, ask your question. But for right now, we're going to give some love before we switch over to the podcast, the People Choice Podcast Awards. So right now, I want to give a shout out to our viewing audience. Hello, Tabitha. Yes, or I should say Boss Queen Bradley. Hello, Sheila Hill. Hello, Kim Jacobs. Tuning in. Thank you so much. And we want to give a shout out to Tracy Home Crombie, Tony Swin, Lawrence Manifest. Let me say it right. Lawrence Manifest Gant. We have 2.5 minutes. Did you hear? We have 2.5 minutes. Make sure that you tweet because we are about to go live, baby. We're about to go live. We're about to start the show very, very soon. So get ready. All right. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a little commercial break and we'll be back with the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Yes, we'll be back with the People's Choice, the 18th annual Podcast Award ceremony. Thank you for all of your support. And we are streaming live. Yes, streaming live from CTR Media Network. If you want to know this voice that you're listening to right now, this is Dr. Tina Ramsay, host of the Tina Ramsay Show and Podcast. And we'll be back in a moment. Enjoy this commercial.
The Homeschooling Interactive Magazine is a magazine that embraces and celebrates the entire homeschooling experience. Our magazine is different from all the rest because we provide beneficial information and assistance in homeschooling, business, wellness, mental health, resources, and life. We encourage you to pick up a copy of our magazine today on Amazon.com by simply searching the Homeschooling Interactive Magazine. The Homeschooling Interactive magazine is all about impacting the world through home-based learning, helping to de-stress the homeschooling experience. Get your copy from Amazon today.
Have you heard about Book Authority's best new podcasting book winner, which is Dr. Tina J. Ramsay, for her book, The Power of Podcasting, Unlocking Tips and Strategies for Podcasting Success. This book is your podcasting coach in a book. She is sharing so many strategies. This book reached #1 twice on Amazon for new release and best-selling book. So go ahead to CTRMediaNetwork.com to purchase your copy today.
Welcome
or simply place your order on Amazon.com
Choice
today
Podcast Awards.
and unleash.
Coming to you via the new media production studio in Coldwater, Michigan, and more importantly, happy International Podcast Day. As a way of introduction, my name is Todd Cochran. I'm the founder of the People's Choice Podcast Awards, and I will celebrate 19 years in podcasting in 7 or 8 short days from now. I have produced over 2,400 episodes across a multitude of shows, along with over 1,600 interviews. I am an active podcaster today, and I have been fortunate to have been inducted into the Podcast Hall of Fame. I host 3 podcasts. The Genesis Show is the Geek News Central podcast. It's a show that I started recording on October 9th, 2004, with nearly 1,700 episodes, with a twice weekly delivery and, of course, bonus interviews from events like NAB and CES. I was responsible for bringing GoDaddy to the advertising space in 2005, and they've been, fortunately, the sponsor of my podcast ever since. I also produced the new media show, where you can get a PhD in podcasting that has exceeded over 550 episodes, which I host with my co-host, Mr. Rob Greenlee. And of course, I have the Podcast Insider Show, which is the Blueberry internal company podcast with over 400 episodes. I'm the founder of Blueberry Podcasting. And for really over the past year, it's been an exciting time at the company. We introduced a pile of new features, including closed caption for web players, free podcaster training, integration with Descript, podcast media kits for customers, quick link pages, which is similar to a Linktree offering, but for podcasters, integration with Headliner, media mastering with our partner Ophonic, Apple Premium podcasting integration, programmatic advertising for all podcasters, plus, most importantly, podcasting 2P. Programmatic advertising for all podcasters, plus, most importantly, podcasting 2P, the most podcasting 2.0 features of any hosting platform. And what I want to share with you today is just a little bit of information about podcasting 2.0 and why it's important and why you should pay attention to what's happening, you as a listener and you as a podcaster. And I've invited Adam Curry to give us just a few minutes of introduction about podcasting 2.0 before we get into the awards ceremony. I think this is a very important time in the podcasting space in remaining open. This is a great introduction to podcasting 2.0. We'll be back with the awards in just a second.
Hi, everybody. It's Adam Curry here in the Hill Country of Texas. Todd asked me to say a few words about podcasting 2.0. And first, I want to make sure that you all thank Todd for keeping the podcast awards open for all these years and available to everybody. It truly is a great community effort, and really appreciate what he and his Blueberry team do on this. So podcasting 2.0 is something that Dave Jones and I started about 3 years ago, and now have amassed a group of about 150 different software developers, smart people, thinkers, people just interested in the technology, app developers, but also podcasters, listeners. It's really a great group of people who wanted to enhance the capabilities of podcasting while maintaining its open nature. And to date, we've developed over 25 new features, which include transcripts, chapters, offers geolocation funding, so you can have an actual easy way to add your PayPal or Patreon or any other type of funding mechanism right in the app. And while speaking of apps, there's over 65 apps and services which now include and incorporate all of these new features. You can find all of them and the hosting companies that support them at podcastapps.com. We built this on an open database, an open index, which you can find at podcastindex.org. We did this specifically an open index, which you can find at podcastindex.org. We did this specifically, attaboy, if you will, or include a message in that and call it a boostagram. It is all open source. There's no middleman. There's very, very minimal fees just for the technology. And the beauty of it is that because of the way we set it up with split technology, everybody who is in the value chain participates. So it's not just what used to be an advertiser would pay Joe Rogan money and the app developer in the middle would get nothing. Now, literally, the app developer, the hosting company, even splits are possible for people who are participating in the show if you have a guest or if you have a co-host. It's very exciting and completely backwards compatible with your legacy app, meaning you can import all of your existing podcast feeds into one of these modern apps, and your modern podcast feed will also work backwards compatible. But I really encourage you to give it a try. It is the future of podcasting. It's happening right now. Grab a new app at podcastapps.com. And I look forward to seeing the first podcast award winner with a 2.0 feed in the coming years. Take care, everybody. Oh, I forgot to say, go podcasting!
Go podcasting, indeed. I want to thank Adam for sending that over to us. And be honest with you, I want you as a podcaster and as a listener to investigate these great new features in Podcasting 2.0. Before we get into the awards, I want to acknowledge some folks and talk a little bit about the history of the Podcast Awards. I founded the Podcast Awards in 2005. It started as a way to honor podcasters globally, emphasizing letting the audience nominate and pick the winners. No other podcast awards uses this process. All other awards in the industry uses industry insiders and sometimes the creators of the awards themselves to pick who they think are the best shows. While in this instance, the People's Choice Podcast Awards are picked solely by the listeners of podcasting. I want to thank all the participating shows. I want to thank those folks part of the Podcast Awards Committee that helped me get this organized to this point today. I want to thank all the 8.3 million listeners that voted, and then the 22,500 final voters that picked our winners tonight. I want to thank my tech partner, One Technology. And of course, you can stay abreast of what's going on with the Podcast Awards and what's coming up by connecting with us through the mailing list, which you can find and sign up for at podcastawards.com. I want to talk about our sponsors tonight. I want to talk about our first sponsor, our key sponsor that really helped us make this completely possible. It's Code Story. Find this podcast at codestory.co. Code Story is a podcast featuring founders, tech leaders, CTOs, and CEOs, and software architects reflecting on their human stories and creating world-changing, disruptive digital products. Hosted by Noah Labert, Code Story is a window into the digital startup world. In their own worlds, tech veterans share what it feels like to create a world-class product, how to recover from critical mistakes, and how to scale solutions for the masses. Check this show, check this podcast out at codestory.co. Again, they are our key sponsor, and we definitely appreciate their support this year at the Podcast Awards. Our podcast sponsors this year include the Pan Am podcast, Grits with a Side of Murder podcast, Tasty Gents, the Popcorn podcast, Razor Wire Cybersecurity, Haunted Story, and really this is a Let's Get Haunted podcast as well, Story Pillar, and those are podcast sponsors, which are podcasters that have came in and supported the show. Check all those podcasts out. They're available via the sidebar at podcastawards.com. Our media partners this year is Pod News. And I want to thank James Cridlin for his promotion of the show. If you're not already signed up for Pod News, make sure you go over to his website at podnews.com and sign up for his weekly newsletter about the podcasting space and also the new media show. I want to thank all those sponsors for the great jobs they have done and supporting the show either monetarily or through promotion of the Podcasting Award. This year, we're honoring podcasters in 30 categories. And also, we have 2 categories, which include something we introduced last year called Listener and Podcaster Influencer of the Year, which covers those that have influenced listeners and podcasters and voted by hand write-in while you were voting or even submitting your show. So we'll announce those winners a little later tonight in the ceremony. But I do want to recognize legacy shows. Legacy shows are very, very unique. Legacy shows are podcasts that have won their specific category 5 times. And when they win their specific category 5 times, they are no longer eligible to participate in the podcast awards in that specific category. And instead, they have the category named after them until another show wins the category 5 times in a row. That list includes Coverville, PodSafe Music category, ESPN Fantasy Focus Football Sports category, Feast of Fools / Fun LGBTQ category, Free Talk Live Politics and News category, Manager Tools, which is the business category, Rob Has a Podcast Entertainment category, The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe Science and Medicine category, This American Life Arts category, This Week in Technology category, WDW Radio Travel category, the Majority Report Politics and News, which is now the current, or is an old holder of that category, Grammar Girl Education category, and the Fantasy Footballers, which now control the sports category. And congratulations to all of them. What I'm going to do now is we're going to get into the nominees and announce the winners. First up, we're going to announce the Listener Influencers of the Year, and we're going to award this right off the top of the show. Congratulations to Christine Schaefer and M. Schultz, and That's Why We Drink, Derek Hartley and Romaine Patterson from Derek and Romaine, Kale Laurie and V. Riviere from Baby Mama's No Drama, Kelly Jennings from Unspeakable True Crime Podcast, and Woody Overton from Real Life, Real Crime for being our 2024 Listener Influencer of the Year as written in by the 8.3 million listeners that voted for podcasters this year. In our podcaster category for Podcaster Influence of the Year, as recorded by podcasters who participated in the 2023 Podcast Awards, is Adam Curry and Dave Jones from Podcasting 2.0, Alex Sanfilippo for Pod Pros, Dave Jackson from School of Podcasting, Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan Experience, and Kale Laurie and V. Riviera from Baby Mama's No Drama, as voted on by your peers to be our 2023 Podcast Influencer of the Year. And congratulations to them in a very, very big way. As we move into this next, we're going to go straight through and talk about each category, the nominees, and the winners. In arts, the nominees are 80s TV Ladies, Bourbon with Friends, Dads Drinking Bourbon, Fashion Crimes Podcast, Finding Beautiful Strangers, Masters of Storytelling, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books, Over Coffee, Sips, Suds, and Smokes, The Folk Tale Project, and the winner in the arts category, and congratulations goes to 80s TV's Ladies. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Sharon. And I'm Susan, and thank you so much. We are so excited to have won in the arts category of the Podcast Awards. We're thrilled.
We are incredibly honored and incredibly surprised that our barely one-year-old podcast has won in this category, especially going up against such incredible other podcasts in this category. Thank you so much.
And I want to say a big thank you to our small but mighty team and our amazing listeners and our incredible guests who have come and shared their story with us, whether they're actors or writers or directors or stunt women or costumers. It's been amazing.
We also want to give a huge thanks to our listeners who have joined us on this really incredible journey, who love TV as much as we do, and are really, really the reason that we continue to do this. And I think the reason that we're here.
And for anyone who watched the Oscars in the 80s, we just want to say, you like us. That's right. You like us.
In the business category, the nominees are 40-Minute Mentor, Beyond the Bottom Line with Bert Miller, Boss Better Now with Joe Mule, Chopping with Fire, Extraordinary Women Podcast, Happier at Work, NerdWallet Smart Money Podcast, Wickedly Smart Women. Yes, we are open. Your money, your wealth. In the business category, our winner this year is Wickedly Smart Women. Congratulations.
Hello, and I am so excited. We're going to ring our bell to celebrate that we won again. I am Angel B. Hartwell, the executive producer and host of the Wickedly Smart Women podcast, and I am so grateful to all of the voters, to all of our listeners, to all of our amazing guests, to my amazing team. We were a 9-time award-winning show. Now this award will make us a 10-time award-winning show. And I just have to say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so grateful, especially to the Podcast Awards Committee for making it possible for us to submit our show and be considered for an award. This will be the 3rd Podcast Awards for us, and we've been nominated 4 or 5 times. So we're so grateful. Thank you again for the opportunity to be recognized, and especially thank you to our listeners in 110 countries all around the world. Everything that we do here at Wickedly Smart Women is to serve and support you to step into your wicked smartness too.
In the comedy category, our nominees are Absolutely Not, And That's Why We Drink, Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet, Dating Games, The Modern Relationship Podcast, Dum Dums and Dragons, Gold Mines with Kevin Hart, I've Had It, Let's Get Haunted, You Up, Urban Legends with the Ghost Brothers. And the winner in the 2023 comedy category belongs to And That's Why We Drink. Congratulations.
Hello, we are Emma and Christine from And That's Why We Drink, and we are so thrilled to have won the People's Choice Comedy Award 2 years in a row.
We are funny 2 whole times in my life. It's very, very lovely. I'm glad I've been awarded both times. Christine just tagged along while that happened, apparently.
That's exactly right. And I couldn't be happier. So thank you, everybody. We love you. And we'll hopefully see you next year for a hat trick.
In the Grammar Girl Education category, the nominees are All Creatures, based on a true story, Beyond the Thesis with Papa PhD, Food Afield Podcast, Getting Lit with Linda, Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls, Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, Teachers in America, The Other Autism, Writers and Illustrators of the Future Podcast. And the winner in the Grammar Girl Education category goes to Based on a True Story. Congratulations.
What an honor to win the Grammar Girl Education category. Thank you to everyone who has listened to Based on a True Story this year and learned something new. I know I always love learning and sharing new things on the podcast. Thank you to my family and closest friends who have helped support me and the show throughout the year. Thanks again.
In the Rob as a Podcast Entertainment category, the nominees are A Witch, A Mystic, and A Feminist, Baby Mama's No Drama Podcast, Big O's Top 20 Countdown, Bubbly Bibbly, Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project, Dum Dums and Dragon, Haunted Happy Hour, Irlanda Talk Show, Let's Get Haunted, and The Hollywood Outsider. And the winner in the Rob Has a Podcast Entertainment category goes to Baby Mama's No Dramas Podcast. Congratulations.
Baby Mamas, we did it. We won entertainment. Thanks to you all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you guys so much. We're so excited to even be in this category, giving y'all all the entertainment. So thanks for all the votes and for listening to us every week.
Listening to all of our BS. Thank you so much for entertaining us while we entertain you.
Period.
And giving us the opportunity to win this award. So thank you again for the second year in a row.
We love you, baby mamas.
In the fiction category, the nominees are Bedtime Stories for Insomniacs, Bite-Sized Tales, Find Us Alive, Ghost Wax, Midnight Burger, Spies, Lies, and Private Eyes with Terrence McCulley, Tales to Terrify, The Break Up Diet, Tomorrow's a New Day, Words in the Air. And the winner in the fiction category goes to Bedtime Stories for Insomniacs. Congratulations.
Oh, hi there. I was just watching a live stream of the Podcast Awards and I heard the name of my show, Bedtime Stories for Insomniacs. It was an honor to be nominated, but winning is fantastic. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who voted for me. Thank you to everybody who listens every week. Special shout out to my writing partners, Arnold Rudnick and Lloyd Auerbach, who work with me on the Rainy Day Paranormal Mysteries and allowed me to serialize those novels here on the podcast. And special thanks to my family and friends, Mom, Dad, Nina, Zach, Don, Jimbo. This is for you, Jim. You know, it takes a lot of work to write, record, edit, produce a weekly podcast. And it's moments like this that make it all worthwhile. If you hadn't had a chance to listen to my show, it's a fiction podcast. I like to describe it as kind of a cross between like an old anthology TV show like The Twilight Zone and an audiobook, maybe with a little old-time radio drama thrown in. So I hope you'll take a moment to head on over to bedtimestories.studio and check it out. Also find out more about me at richosick.com. And again, I guess I'll end this with the way I end all my podcasts. Thanks again, and all the very best.
In the Games and Hobbies category, the nominees are Two Nerds in a Pod, a video game podcast, Dork Matters, Dum Dums and Dragons, It's Super Effective, Stitch Please, Swords and Starships, Tales to Inspire, The Adventure Game Podcast, The Apocalypse Players, and the Gaming Outsider. And the winner in the games and hobby category goes to Two Nerds in a Pod, a video game podcast. Congratulations.
Mr. Nice Guy, we've done it. We won games and hobbies again.
Not one time, not two times, but 3 times in a row. So humbling. Thank you so much to everyone who voted for us and everyone who supported our podcast over the years. Mac, we've been doing this. How many years have we been doing this now?
We started it way back in 2016, and ever since then, most Tuesday nights, a lot more regular since 2018. But, most Tuesday nights recording the live show each Tuesday. So, yeah, it's wild to think we've been at it this long.
And we're not stopping anytime soon. Shout out to our lovely spouses, Mrs. Nice Guy and Mrs. The Mac, for supporting us doing this podcast every Tuesday for the past several years. And shout out to all the listeners and the indie devs that have provided us with codes for review, as that's part of what we do in our pod. So if you haven't gotten to listen, please check us out, twitch.tv/2nerdsinapod. Mac, what else do you want to say to the people?
Well, I just want to say that keep in mind, if you show up live, you can try and dunk on us with your nerdy trivia each week. So, gauntlet's been thrown. Pick it up. Beat us with the gauntlet.
Hey, video games are art. Be excellent to each other and keep it nerdy, y'all. Deuces.
See ya.
In government and organizations category, the nominees are Inside the FBI, National Security Law Today, 1CA Podcast, Radio Davos, Raise Nation Radio, Rich Valdez America at Night, Tech Cha Pod, The Debrief with John Becker, The Finner Life Show, and To The Point. And the winner in the government and organization categories goes to Inside the FBI. Congratulations.
On behalf of the Inside the FBI podcast, thank you for choosing us as Best Government and Organizations Podcast at this year's Podcast Awards. It's truly an honor to be selected among such wonderful nominees. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the listeners and the voters who've supported us over the past 3 years, and I can't wait to share our future episodes with you. I also want to thank the guests and subject matter experts who've lent their voices and knowledge to our show over the years. Your expertise has allowed us to deliver important information and to tell the FBI story to the public. And of course, I have to thank our amazing team. Our show is truly a group effort, and it wouldn't be possible without everyone's help. So thanks again for tuning in.
In the health category, the nominees are Beneath Your Beautiful, Beyond the Mask, Dementia Matters, Eat, Move, Think, Foreplay, Couples and Sex Therapy, Inferto AF, It Happened to Me, Mental, the podcast to destigmatize mental health, The Doctor's Art, and These Spookin' Feelings podcast. And the winner goes to These Spooking Feelings podcast. Congratulations.
Season 2.5 was epic for us. We are so grateful and thankful for this honor, Best Mental Health Podcast. I mean, it's pretty dope because we take this seriously. All of us are here at These Fucking Feelings podcast. We're currently working on our mental health, and for you guys to nominate us and for us to win is pretty dope because it means you're focusing on your mental health. Unfortunately, my co-stars are all sick. Rebecca has COVID and Crystal had COVID, so we weren't able to do this video together, but I do accept on behalf of the whole team. We love you. We thank you. Continue to watch. New season coming November 1st. Check us out. Thank you. Deuces.
In the history category, the nominees are American Hysteria, Archeo ED, Based on a True Story, Bloody Angola, Earth Ancients, Fresh Hell Podcast, I Am Story, Obituaries with Mo Roca, Spycast, Unsung History. And the winner in the history category goes to Bloody Angola. Congratulations.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to Bloody
Angola,
a podcast 142 years in the making.
The complete story of America's bloodiest prison.
And I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Woody Overton. And if you're watching this, we just won.
Boom!
Boom! Bloody Angola, best podcast in the world in the history category. And
look, we love to talk about history. We want to thank everyone who had anything to do with us winning this award, especially our fans, right?
Absolutely. Y'all, we've been so blessed. And I want to thank my partner, first of all, who makes all the magic happen in Vision Podcast Studios.
We want to thank our families.
Definitely thank our families.
This stuff requires time and their patience. So we appreciate that.
And y'all rock. And yeah, keep listening and liking and sharing. And hey, we're blessed and we couldn't do it without y'all. This is truly an honor. And we want to thank the People's Choice Podcast Awards for putting this on, and just super blessed.
Telling the complete story of America's bloodiest prison. Peace.
In Kids and Family, the nominees are Childproof, Culture Kids Podcast, Detective Dexter, Didn't I Just Feed You? Fairy Tales with Granny McDuff, Girl Tales, Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, Raising Good Humans, The Dumb Dad Podcast, and The Pediatrician Next Door. And the winner in Kids and Family goes to Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls. Congratulations.
We are honored to win this Kids and Family Award. Rebel Girls is all about lifting each other up and honoring women, past, present, and future, who are doing incredible things and inspiring girls around the world.
Rebel Girls started out in 2016 with a book of real-life fairy tales about extraordinary women, because girls needed more than just stories about princesses waiting to be saved by a prince.
We wanted to celebrate all the queens and activists, ballerinas and lawyers, inventors, astronauts, and rock stars who are women.
This podcast means so much to us because we get to dive into these real-life stories and invite our listeners to see themselves as extraordinary too.
Thank you to our listeners and to our writers, voiceover artists, sound designers, illustrators, and the whole Rebel Girls team for making this podcast possible. And thank you for this awesome award. Stay Rebel.
In the leisure category, the nominees are Bubbly Bibbly, Canceled for Maintenance, Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project, Dad's Drinking Bourbon, and Wheel Time Car Talk, Miles to Go, Should Have Listened to My Mother, The Wonderful World of Wine, WWW, Travel That Matters, and Vanilla with a Side of Kink. The winner in the leisure category goes to Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Congratulations.
Hey, y'all. John from Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Just want to thank you for voting for us for Best Leisure Podcast. We couldn't have done it without you. Cheers. Appreciate you. Love you. Bye.
In the Feast of Fools Fun LGBTQ category, the nominees are An Older Gay Guy Show, Derek and Romaine, Draga Mala, Everyday Women, Gayish, Modern Gays, Our Blake Gack Dysphoria Podcast, Queer Insight, Queer Magnolias Podcast, and the Queer Family Podcast. And the winner in the Feast of Fools Fun LGBTQ category goes to Derek and Romaine. Congratulations.
Derek, we won. We won again for the Best LGBTQ Podcast. I cannot believe it.
Well, we're 5 by 5, B. Here we are. Winner, winner. 5-time dinner.
I want to thank all of the listeners out there of Derek and Romaine. You guys have been with us through thick and thin, all the ups, all the downs. We love you so much. Thank you for going out and voting for us and nominating us for this award. We couldn't be anywhere without all of you.
I'm so thrilled. I wish I had one of the awards here, but Romaine doesn't allow me to have the awards in my house. So I just have to have this Oscar, where I won the juvenile Oscar, beating Margaret O'Brien, the saddest award ever, For Sale, baby shoes, never worn. This GLAAD award, of course, we have that. So,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
there's that. Yeah.
I like
I
to
think
wear this.
what Derek is saying is we win a lot of awards, and I don't let him keep any of the podcast awards because I love them so much. But because we won this year, Derek, I understand that the category will be named after our show. So that's something you can have forever.
That's right. So soon people will be voting on the Narcissistic Egomaniacs Award in honor of us. So thank you so much for building this pedestal for our egos to be on. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all.
In the Coverville PodSafe music category, the nominees are Abandoned Albums, Catch a Vibe, Everything Fab 4, Irish and Celtic Music Podcast, Music Rewind Podcast, Super Awesome Mix, The Best Song Podcast, The Blog Era, We Will Rank You, and What Are You Listening to? And the winner in the Coverville Coverville PodSafe music category goes to What Are You Listening to? Congratulations.
Hi, it's Jen Tully from What Are You Listening to? Thank you so much for this award. I'm truly grateful and humbled. I'd like to thank Matt Sidholm and Samra Abusabi, my producers and fellow podcasters on the Super Awesome Mix podcast network. Thank you to the listeners. The whole idea behind the show is to create community through music, and without community, we wouldn't have that. So thank you for listening. Thank you to the judges and the listening panels. I know that is no small feat to pour through hours and hours of podcasts to determine a winner. So thank you. Special shout out to Don Cento, who is a frequent guest and constant cheerleader. Also a huge part of supplying me with quality musicians all over the country to be guests on the show. And last but definitely not least, thank you to my friends, my family, my husband, my daughter. You guys have done nothing but support and encourage and keep the dog quiet while I'm recording. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
In the Majority Report Politics and News category, the nominees are the Car Stuff Podcast, CityCast Houston, Daily Detroit, Morning Announcements, National Security Law Today, News on the Flip Side, Politics is Everything, Talking Feds, The Remnant, and Truth Detective with Stephanie Lee. And the winner in the Majority Report Politics and News category goes to Morning Announcements. Congratulations.
I just want to say thank you so much for this amazing honor. There are so many incredible shows and podcasters out there that are incredibly worthy of your time. And I am so grateful to even have the 5 minutes, 10 some days, that you are willing to give me in your ears every morning. And especially that you trust me to be your messenger for current events and for news, which we all know is a very tough space to be in. I personally have wanted to work in media in some capacity since I was very young, and the podcast space has really created so much opportunity out there. I am so proud to be a part of it. Of course, before we go, I want to thank my production team, our editor, Grace Hernandez-Johnson, the podcast director at Betches, Sean Kilby, and Amanda Duberman and Bridget Schwartz from Betches News, whose efforts I am so proud of and so grateful for. And of course, to my husband, Avi, and my mom, who I really feel so special when I catch you guys listening. So thank you all again so much, and congrats to all the nominees and winners.
In religion and spirituality, the nominees are a witch, a mystic, and a feminist. Beyond the Rut, Bible in a Year with Jack Graham, Dualicity, Unity, How Gay Thou Art, How to Tickle Yourself, I Talk to Ghost, Mediumship Matters, Psychic Matters, and Your Spiritual Best Friend. And the winner in the religion and spirituality category goes to a witch, a mystic, and a feminist. Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marlena here with Christy and Jamie, and we are the hosts of A Witch, a Mystic, and a Feminist. We are extremely honored to be winning this award for Best Religion and Spirituality podcast. This has been a labor of love that I couldn't imagine doing without Christy and Jamie. To our wonderful producer, editor, sound technician, all the things behind the scenes, my mom, Deb, thank you for spending your retirement working your magic and joining us on certain episodes. To our guests that have been on the show, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us and our listeners. To our husbands, kids, and families, thank you for supporting us. But most importantly, thank you to our listeners. We are so grateful to all of you for your support, and we cannot thank you enough.
In the Skeptic's Guide Science and Medicine category, the nominees are DNA Today, Forever Young Podcast, On Wildlife, Paranormal Outsiders, Science Night, The Doctor's Art, The Dr. Denise Show, Tiny Expeditions, Why We Do What We Do, and Your Complex Brain. And the winner in the Skeptic's Guide Science and Medicine category belongs to Your Complex Brain. Congratulations.
Hi, everybody. I'm Heather. I'm Sarah. I'm Amy.
And I'm Twain. And we're the team behind Your Complex Brain.
We are so excited about this award. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us.
We love bringing you the science, the mysteries, the myths behind your brain and neuroscience, and sharing the knowledge with the public and our friends out there that want to learn more about the brain.
Not here with us today, but definitely made a huge contribution to this podcast is Carly McPherson and Jessica Schmidt. Thank you very much. Woo!
In Society and Culture, the nominees are A Witch, a Mystic, and a Feminist, Bar Fights, Be There in 5, Diary of a Bald Man, Friendliness, Haunted Happy Hour, Let's Get Haunted, Monsters Among Us, UFO Undercover, and Vanilla with a Side of Kink. And the winner in Society and Culture goes to Let's Get Haunted. Congratulations.
Hi, Podcast Awards. Hi, everybody watching right now. Hello to all the haunties. If you don't know who we are, we're Let's Get Haunted. And my name is Allie.
And I'm Nat.
And we're super excited to have just found out that we won the 2023 People's Choice Podcast Award for Society and Culture. And we are very cultured and we do live in a society. So we really feel like this is very fitting and we're super, super excited about it.
Yes. And of course, we could not have done this without all of our patrons who keep the lights on for us every single day. So thank you to the patrons. Thank you to all of the haunties. Thank you to UTA and Q Code. And of course, thank you to ourselves who could not get through this without Bingus. So it's really just a bunch of people and spiritual beings just holding hands and creating a vortex through which we are able to share their stories. So thank you guys very much.
Wow, couldn't have said it more succinctly myself. Thank you, People's Choice Podcast Awards, and congratulations to all the other nominees.
In the ESPN Fantasy Focus Football Sports category, the nominees are 25 for 5, the story of the Miami Fusion for those who lived it, All the Smoke, Almost Cooperstown, Fantasy Football Today, Grassroots Women's Rugby from the Roots Up, The Halftime Show, Morning Combat, No Place I'd Rather Be, The Packers Fan Podcast, and The Early Edge, a daily sports betting podcast. And the winner in the ESPN Fantasy Focus Football Sports category goes to Halftime Show. Congratulations.
Hey guys, this is Omar Duri from the Halftime Show on Pulse 95 Radio. Just want to thank you very much. So grateful for the awards, the podcast awards. It means a lot to me, the fact that the Halftime Show is the first English-speaking show in charge to focus on things like mental health, gut health, and how important performances on the brain and recovery is so important to us. We're so grateful here on the Halftime Show for you guys that listen in, tune in, share, like, and subscribe our content, and also the fact that I get to use my humble platform to raise awareness awareness on such important topics. We are again here on Halftime Show on Pulse 95 Radio to have your support, your votes, and also ensure that our content gets to as many people as possible. Thank you very much. Again, love, support, and shining light to you guys on Pulse 95 Radio. Take care, guys. Salam. It's Amar Duri. I'm out.
In the storyteller and drama category, the nominees are Big Lash Energy, Dum-Dums and Dragons, I Talk to Ghost, Let's Get Haunted, Mr. Ballin Podcast, Strange, Dark, and Mysterious Stories, Nobody Knows But Us, Real Life, Real Crime, Somewhere in the Skies, Stories with Sapphire, and the Hero Maker Podcast. And the winner in the storyteller and drama category goes to Let's Get Haunted. Congratulations.
Hey guys, it's us. It's Nat and Allie from Let's Get Haunted, and we are super excited because we apparently won the People's Choice Podcast Award for Best Storyteller Drama Podcast, which is incredible.
We're so thankful to have another award to put in our trophy case. We want to give a big thank you to UTA and to Q Code and to all of the patrons who keep the lights on in the studio, even though mine appear to be off right now. And thank you so much to Allie, and thanks to Nat, me in third person, and thank you to Bingus. Thank you to all of the people who are parts of our stories, living or deceased. We honor you guys, and we just are so happy to be part of this big haunted family. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much to the People's Choice Podcast Awards. We have been nominated in years past, but we've never won before. So this is super exciting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to curse or not, but just know that I feel like cursing. That's how excited we are. And we'll see you guys every Wednesday over on your favorite podcast listening platform. Bye.
Bye.
In the This Week in Tech Technology category, the nominees are Barcode, Cloud Realities, Disco Posse Podcast, Untech and Vision with Dr. Cal Roberts, Random but Memorable, Razor Wire, Root Causes, The Audacity to Podcast, The Great Indoors, and To the Point. And the winner in This Week in Tech Technology category goes to The Audacity to Podcast. Congratulations.
As most of my amazing audience knows, the last few years have been very difficult for me. But many of my audience, many of you were still there for me, and you even kept me in your podcast apps. Thank you. I named my show The Audacity to Podcast because it takes audacity to think that you can impact the world with only your voice from literally your closet. It takes courage to speak up for what's right. It takes guts to put out your message and dare to compete with men and women who may have far more skills and resources than you. But you do, and we do it because of the burning passion inside us. That's why I started the Audacity to Podcast more than 12 years ago, to give you the guts and teach you the tools to start and grow your own podcast for passion and profit. However you define profit for yourself and your audience. I'm so very grateful for my audience, for their support, for the talented people I get to work with, for this celebration of my contributions to the podcasting industry, and most of all, for the sustaining grace from Jesus Christ. We can make a difference, no matter our microphones, our messages, or our methods. Why? Because we have the audacity to podcast. And as a podcaster who podcasts about podcasting and is speaking to mostly podcasters now, I would be remiss without reminding you to listen to my podcast at theaudacitytopodcast.com. I'm Daniel J. Lewis, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
In the True Crime category, the nominees are 48 Hours, and That's Why We Drink, Betrayal Season 2, Fresh Hell Podcast, Hide and Seek, Murder, She Told, Real Life, Real Crime, Small Town Dicks, True Crime Daily, and Unspeakable, a true crime podcast by Kelly Jennings. And the winner in the True Crime category goes to And That's Why We Drink. Congratulations.
A True Crime Award.
We
I
did
gotta hand this one to you, Christine. You definitely carry more of the true crime appeal, I suppose, to our audience.
You know what? Thank you so much. I mean, for someone surrounded by Mothman right now, I feel like I'm not setting up the true crime aesthetic over here, but I am extremely honored because, true crime has become my life's work. I didn't expect it, but here we are. And so Em and I are just both very thankful that you nominated us and, picked us to win the True Crime Award. We're so honored. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There are so many true crime shows out there, so it's a huge deal to us.
In the TV and film category, the nominees are 80s TV Ladies, Avatar, Braving the Elements, based on a true story, Energize, a Star Trek podcast network, HBO's Succession podcast, Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, The Blacklist Exposed, the official Game of Thrones podcast for the House of the Dragon, the Popcorn Podcast, and Watch If You Dare. And the winner in the TV and film category goes to 80 TV's Ladies. Congratulations.
What? I can't believe it, Sharon. We won.
Susan, I know. How did this happen? Thank you so much for honoring 80s TV Ladies in this category as Best in Film and TV. The other nominees are incredible, and we felt just so lucky to be nominated, let alone to win. It's amazing.
It's amazing. I want to thank the Podcast Awards, and I want to thank everybody who voted for us. And I really want to thank our listeners who have liked and followed us and subscribed and who support us and email us and give us ideas for shows. And I want to thank our team, our amazing team of Melissa and Kevin and Sullivan and the 90s TV babies who come on and talk about the shows with us, Sarita and Sergio and Megan. And you can clearly tell that I am nervous because I'm trying to remember everybody's name, which is terrible for me.
And a special thank you to our incredible guests, actors, writers, directors, stunt women, costumers who came on our show to share their amazing stories and bring us all such joy.
It's been spectacular. Thank you so very much.
We've gotten through our topical categories, and now we're going to get into our best of categories. These are new categories that were added last year, and we'll wrap up the show tonight with, of course, our People's Choice Podcast Award. I want to remind all the nominees, it is a great honor to have just made the nominee pool. You'll be on the website for until May or June of next year, and you'll get a lot of traffic back to your websites. Again, I want to congratulate all the winners up to this point. I am really, it's a great lineup of shows. And again, congratulations. For those of you that don't know about the process here, we are very reluctant to add new categories to the Podcast Awards because that comes with an overhead of about $800 to support each category. So again, our sponsors that sponsored the Podcast Awards are on the website, and the podcasters themselves that registered for the Podcast Awards have really made a difference here in allowing us to do what we do and to be able to provide all the winners a trophy. It's a big process for us. But again, I want to congratulate all the winners before. And let's get into the best of category. And this first one is kind of a fun category. There's no trophy that goes along with this, but it is kind of a feeler for where the industry is at and who's listening to podcasts where. We'll start off, of course, with our best podcast listing platform. As I make a little switch here to make sure I'm ready to go into the regular categories. But the best podcast listening platform, the nominees are Apple Podcasts, Blueberry Podcast Directory, Castamatic, CurioCaster, Fountain Podcast App, Podcast Addict, Podcast Index, Podfriend, Podverse Podcast App, and Spotify. And as you can see, it's not just directories, apps, it's also platforms. But of course, the winner, and there can only be one this year, goes to Apple Podcasts. Congratulations to Apple Podcasts, which continues to be the leader overall globally in the consumption of podcasts, with having the largest market share of podcast listeners listening to podcast apps. But be sure to try some of those new podcast apps out at podcastapps.com. Next up is our Best Black Hosted Podcast category. The nominees are All the Smoke, All Things Covered with Patrick Peterson and Brian McFadden, Create Your Life series, I Am Story, Keeping It Real with Carmel, As We Say 100, Mass Debaters, Relationship, Self-Care with Soya, the Tina Ramsay Show, and We Used to Talk About This at Work. And a winner of the Best Black Hosted Podcast goes to We Used to Talk About This at Work. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Chad.
And I'm Matt.
From the We Used to Talk About This at Work podcast, we want to thank everybody that voted for us. Sometimes it feels like we're just dropping content into the void, but it's moments like this that just make it feel so worth it.
Yes, I want to thank everybody who listens to us, who follows us. I want to thank my mother, my dog, my brother, my sister, my cousins. I want to thank everybody. We did it, mama.
Woo! Next up is the Best Asian Hosted Podcast. The nominees are An Odyssey with Anum Farouk, Back to Basics, and apologies, Back to Basics Wisdom as well, How to Be Books Podcast, Stories with Sapphire, The Ambitious Empath Show, The Bon Mi Chronicles, The Haine Podcast, The Motivation Mindset, and Vietnamese Boat People. And the winner in the Best Asian Hosted Podcast goes to Stories with Sapphire. Congratulations.
Oh my gosh, what an honor. Thank you so much, People's Choice. There's not a whole lot of us Asian podcasters in the paranormal community, so I am honored to represent Filipino Americans in this space, and I'm dedicated to uplifting many more. I'd like to thank my parents for helping me pronounce Filipino words and helping me source family stories. Shout out to my grandpa Rudy, who's now on the other side. He inspired my passion for Filipino folklore and storytelling. I'd like to thank my sister Sabrina, my husband Elliot for your constant support, and my rep Fabian Varela. All my cousins and friends who've had to put up with me asking them to share things or give me feedback, all my Patreon members, and last but not least, everyone who listens to the show and everyone who has sent me a story. There is no Stories with Sapphire without you. So salamat kaayo. Thank you very much.
In the Best Podcast Hosted in Spanish, the nominees are Jimenez Bizarros, Cuentos de Buenas Noches para Niñas Rebeldes, Draga Mala, and Boca Cerrada, Epstimas, and Wine Soundtrack Argentina. And if I destroyed any of the Spanish pronunciations, my deepest apologies. And the winner in the Best Podcast Hosted in Spanish goes to Draga Mala. Congratulations.
Thank you, Podcast Awards, for this recognition. We would like to thank all of our listeners for always tuning in every week. This is the Best Spanish Hosted category, so we're going to switch it up a bit.
Definitivamente queremos darle las gracias a todos nuestros oyentes que semana tras semana nos escuchan, a nuestros Patreon que nos están apoyando en esa nueva plataforma y a Esteban Cosme que siempre hace que nuestros artes se vean a otro nivel.
To close this out, we want to remind everyone that drag is not a crime, it is an art, and now more than ever, we need to use our platforms to support all drag artists that entertain us and share their passion through this art. So please, 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 drag is not a crime. Thank you so much, Podcast Awards. Gracias. Un beso.
Puerto Rico.
Woo!
The next two categories, I will say, Best Female Hosted Podcast and Best Male Hosted Podcast, are probably the most competitive categories besides the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Ladies and gentlemen, the vote spread here was very narrow across all shows. So I want to congratulate each of you specifically in these two categories. It was definitely a battle royale. So we'll go through and announce the winners. And Best Female Hosted Podcast, the nominees are 80s TV Ladies, Baby Mama's No Drama Podcast, Be There in 5, Big Lash Energy, Coffee and Cases, a true crime podcast. Fresh Hell podcast. Grits with a Side of Murder. Haunted Happy Hour. And Let's Get Haunted. And Not Skinny, but Not Fat. And the winner in the best female hosted podcast category for 2023 goes to 80s TV Ladies. Congratulations.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I am Susan Lambert Haddam.
And I'm Sharon Johnson, and we are the hosts of 80s TV Ladies podcast.
We are so thrilled to win in the category of Best Female Podcast Host People. Thank you so much to the Podcast Awards, and we're so grateful to be in this category. We're so grateful there is this category, and we're especially just thrilled to be nominated with all these other amazing podcasters.
We only started this podcast a little over a year ago, and the fact that we were included amongst these amazing podcasters let alone one, boggles our minds. So thanks so much to our incredible listeners, our incredible team who are
Small but mighty.
Indeed, but definitely get the job done. So thank you so much.
And thank you for honoring female podcasters. We want our podcast to be fun and retro and all that stuff, but it also is very important to us, the stuff we're talking about. So it means a lot to be recognized.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
For Best Male Hosted Podcast, the nominees are All the Smoke, based on a true story. Create Your Life series. Obituaries with Mo Rocca. Monsters Among Us podcast. Real Life, Real Crime. The Conspiracy Podcast. The Finding Peace Podcast. The Thriller Zone. And these Who Can Feelings podcast. And the winner in the Best Male Hosted Podcast category goes to Real Life, Real Crime. Congratulations.
Hey, y'all, did it again. Best male host in the world for the People's Choice podcast for 2023. That's three-peat. That's 3 years in a row, all because of you lifers. And hey, it's been a hell of a ride. I enjoy it, and you just totally validate me. I got to thank my producer, Jim Chapman, for making it sound so great in Vision Podcast Studios. I got to thank my family. Got to thank my friends. I'm just blessed, y'all. But absolutely, lifers, I'm speechless. 3 years in a row, we've won this. Best male hosts in the world. I'm just me, y'all. Y'all are the ones that make it happen. And I love, 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 and appreciate you. Thank you so much. Peace.
We are almost at a close. The Adam Curry's People Choice Podcast Award was named by me because Adam Curry is the podfather of podcasting. All of us would not be here today in this forum had not Adam and Dave Weiner determined this new medium called podcasting, and it had kicked off really in 2003 and 2004. I call the birth of podcasting really in 2004. Some will say 2003 or earlier. But the thing is, Adam came up with the idea of an enclosure that would go in an RSS feed that would allow for the distribution and syndication of podcasts that has grown dramatically over these past 19 years. Adam is a good friend of mine. He still does a great podcast. Google him, check him out. He's still an influencer in the space. For this reason, we'll go ahead and announce the winner tonight for the People's Choice Podcast Award. This is the highest honor that we can give. Every show that registers to participate in the Podcast Awards is entered in this category. The final voting in this category had nearly 21,000 total votes across it. And there was only 22,500 total people that voted in the final round. But again, 8.3 million people were the grand total folks that created all the nominees in all of these categories. So we'll get into announcing the Adam Curry's People's Choice Podcast Award nominees. And the nominees are, and that's why we drink. Baby Mama's No Drama Podcast, Be There in 5, Childproof, Derek and Romaine, Let's Get Haunted, Monsters Among Us, Real Life, Real Crime, These Fukin Feeling Podcast, and You Up. And the winner for the 19th Annual People's Choice Podcast Awards for 2023 goes to Real Life, Real Crime. Congratulations.
Hey, y'all. Got to say thank you. Winning the Adam Curry's People's Choice Podcast of the Year Award, the big banana, right? The big enchilada. And it's all because of y'all. I've affectionately called my fans lifers, best fans in the world. I've said it time and time again. I'll put you up against anybody. And I love and appreciate each and every one of y'all, my patrons and convicts and Apple subscribers and everyone else. The show couldn't happen without you. We've done some great things. We saw some cold cases. We told some great old cop stories. And I love, love, love y'all. I want to thank my producer, Jim Chapman, and Vision Podcast Studios. I want to thank my family. Most of all, this belongs to y'all. It's the people's choice, and you rocked it. Y'all did it again. I'm so blessed. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And now the Adam Curry's People's Choice Podcast of the Year Award, y'all. And that's the only one we hadn't won. Thank you again. Y'all totally validate me. I love, love, love you. Peace.
I want to thank you all. Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to all the nominees. It's been my pleasure to bring you this show. Tonight, we have been lit and live on modern podcast apps. Many of you have been watching on YouTube or other social media platforms. But go over to podcastapps.com. Check out the Podcasting 2.0 space. Get involved in Value for Value. This is a great time to see how podcasting is expanding. Again, congratulations to all the winners. We want to thank all of you. Look forward to a brand new podcast called The People's Choice Podcast Awards podcast, where we will be interviewing some of these podcasters on their Genesis stories about how they created their podcast and how they built a successful podcast over the next year. It's a brand new listing wherever you get your podcast. So make sure you follow and subscribe to this brand new podcast called the People's Choice Podcast Awards podcast. You find it in Apple Podcasts today, Spotify, wherever you listen to shows. It's been my pleasure bringing the awards tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to sign up for the mailing list so that you can be and get the information on when the 2024 event will kick off. And of course, my name is Todd Cochran, and you can follow me on X at Geek News, on Mastodon at Geek News, at geeknews.chat. And of course, follow us on X at Podcast Awards. We're on Facebook as well with a Facebook page. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening. It's been my pleasure to bring you the award ceremony tonight. Until next year, take care. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Dorothy Cook, Dr. Dorothy Cook, better known as the Godmother and the Millionaire Maker. Why? Because I make millionaires. And I am on the Tina Ramsay Show. I'm so excited. I hope you'll be excited too. Tina got it going on. You need to have it going on. The Tina Ramsay Show with the Millionaire Maker. Join us.
Thank you so much, CTR Media Network, Dr. Tina Ramsay, along with the staff of CTR Media Network and all of the podcasters that have programs featured on CTR Media Network. I'm Kim Jacobs, the host of The Kim Jacobs Show, and we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. It is such an honor and a privilege to be able to be associated with Dr. Tina Ramsay and her program with CTR Media Network. They go over and beyond the call of duty and do exceptionally well when it comes to the podcasters. I'm saying things that are like, ooh, mind-blowing. They are exceeding our expectations, and I cannot be more grateful and more thankful. So I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for all of your professionalism, your consideration, going the extra mile to make sure that your podcasters have what we need to be able to have a thriving program and to get exposed to over 350 million households, 46 countries. I am excited to be a part of CTR Media Network, and I don't take it for granted. Thank you, Dr. Tina Ramsay, for all that you do. God bless you.
All right, so at this time, we are welcoming author, podcast, businesswoman, coach, podcast influencer, Coach Tina Ramsay.
What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network that's the best by far. Whether you're listening at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above par. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health is here. We got it, reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR is who we are, the media network that's the best by far, you know. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. Yourself, your health is here, we got it. Reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR is who we are, the media network that's the best by far, you know. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network.